Check. Welcome to the SPS podcast. You are now tuned in to your host, DJ Strata, and this is the Raw Bunch SPS style. So today, we're going to get into a show, and I'm going to get y'all a quick rundown. We're talking about new information, right? So this is what I found, is that in life, right, you got your beliefs, right, which is cool. My question I wanted to tackle today was like, what do you do when something you believed in is questioned, right? Now, the reason why this is important is I think that as a people, sometimes we got to decide what's more important, being right or being willing to correct. And I think there's a difference between the two of them. So let's talk about what that means, right? Let's say you have a principle or something that you believe in. It's not religious. Let's take it off religion for a little while. And up until a point in your life, this is what you're doing because you believe that this what is the right thing to do. Well, you live life long enough, and then you'll find that principles or beliefs should be able to stand the test of time and criticism, right? And I think that for some people, that they'll hold on to a thought or an idea, even if it doesn't stand the scrutiny of being criticized, right? And so this is where I think the line can get a little blurred. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to do a show kind of speaking to what this looks like and what this could possibly show up as. Kiki, what's up with you? You on mute, love.
Hey.
What's going on? How you?
Good.
Good to see you. How's your day?
I try to get some rest, but it was
I'm glad that I was just going through the intro real quick, and I was trying to explain to people about how, like, what do you do in life when you have an idea about something and then you get some new information? What does that do to you? What does that do for
you. Say it again.
What do you do in life when you have a thought and idea, and then when you try to put it out in the world, something happens to challenge what you think? Do you change your mind, or do you stick with what you was originally doing?
I guess you go back to the drawing table. I wouldn't just not do what I was doing because, you got a couple of critics. They got to back up what they say. So I go see what's what, and then I come back. But you got to keep striving.
That's dope. What do you think most people do, though?
I think a lot of people get distracted. Well, I wouldn't say distracted. I say they'll get discouraged, and they stop.
I like that.
Because the idea isn't maybe appealing to the audience that they're actually posing their ideas to. Because sometimes you got to change your audience.
Okay. Now, when you change your audience, are you trying to find people that agree with what you're thinking?
No, that's going to support what you're thinking.
Oh. So do you think that it's better to find people that challenge it or find people that support what you think?
Both.
Both?
Because even though this is like, I could support it and challenge it at the same time. And it's only because I might be challenging it so you can excel in what you're doing already. Because I might see something that, hey, you might do this and, that'll actually take off. It'll add to what you got going on already.
Oh, that makes sense. Bino, what's up, brother? I like it.
Yo,
Kiki.
what's good? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah. How you?
What's good with it, y'all? I'm straight. I don't know. I'm trying to hang around as long as I can and shit. Doing a lot of running around.
You cool, bro. I know the count, bro. But I was just asking Kiki, Bino, what you do in life? I'm going to ask you personally, and I'm going to ask you what other people do. So what do you do when you believe something and you get new information and it challenges what you thought? You change what you originally was thinking, or do you hold on to what you know?
When I get new information, I mean, I'm more so the type person don't really try to think nothing until I get all information necessary to make an analysis on it personally. So if I did do that before I got all information, I'd just change what the fuck I thought. I mean, wise man know he knows nothing.
That's a bar. Now, my other question is, what do you think most people do, bro?
I think most people hear what they want to hear, so they have a bias. So whatever their bias is, they'll be able to have an argument about it. I think that's what most people do.
That makes sense. Unfortunately, I think you're right, bro, and I think that's why this conversation is important. So just let y'all know what I did today is I picked 3 controversial cases that most people can relate to, And new information has developed in all three of these cases that might change the way you thought about them. I'm not saying it does. I'm not saying it will. But these are examples of how things was presented to us one way. We had an idea, and then something else happened. And then it's like, wait a minute, this might not been what I thought it was. So in the order of the rundown today, we're going to talk about Diddy, Tory Lanez, and then Adriana Smith. Then we'll get into the philosophy of new information, and then we're going to reflect on what that looks like personally, right? So let's jump straight to it, man. The first case up is, of course, the Diddy case. I wanted to give y'all a rundown of all the information first before I ask these follow-up questions. But let's bring it up and just kind of see where y'all at with it. So here's an overview of the case. First off, Diddy is currently charged for racketeering, sex trafficking, and coercion. That's his charges. The sentence is up to life in prison. Here's a timeline of kind of the rundown. So between 2017 and 2018, Cassie alleged that enduring years of abuse, it included coercion into drug-fueled sex acts and turned freak-offs and multiple instances of physical violence. That was from 2017 to 2018. Before that, March 5th of 2016, hotel surveillance footage captures Diddy assaulting Cassie in a LA hotel hallway. Fast forward to November 2023, Cassie filed a civil suit for $20 million. Now, in September of the next year, Combs was arrested and indicted on federal charges. Then in May of this year, Cassie just testified between the 12th and the 16th of this month. She testified over 4 days detailing the alleged abuse and the coercion. Now, Diddy's defense strategy is that his legal team is presenting messages suggesting mutual affection between him and Cassie to challenge the prosecution's narrative. So that's where we're currently at. Right now, I do want to present. I found some of the screenshots of some of the text messages, and I want to kind of share what they were, just to see, you know, kind of what y'all think about it. Give me 1 second. Can y'all see that? Let me bring it up on stage. Can y'all see it on y'all end?
I'm driving, so I ain't really too much paying.
No.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can bring it up. Move. Add it to the stage. All right, let me remove this and see if it pops up.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so this is a text message between Cassie and Diddy. It doesn't have a timestamp date on it, but if you read it, you can see it says, this Cassie's in the gray and Diddy's in the blue. Cassie says, I love all freak offs when we both want it. I want to freak off right now, LOL. I want to have fun with you. Diddy responds, let me know if you want to have a late night. Jules is available. If you're not into that, no problem. We can just do a thing. Love you. She replies, love you. If you're not super horny, what the fuck? Horny, of course I am. So, based on the case, right? What are y'all initial thoughts based on how it was presented? And does that text message in Diddy's defense make you change with new information about how you feel about the case or any of the parties involved? Does that change anything for y'all?
No. No.
Got you. Tell me why or why not.
That's just one text message. That's just one text thread.
Okay.
I mean, we're looking at years of what they do, so it didn't say anything about wanting to do anything else, you know, being drugged and piss being all in your mouth and with multiple people and whatever, so on and so forth. That's just one little snippet. And in relationships, you have good times and you have bad times. That could have been a good time.
Oh, got you. Do you think that was a bad tactic by the defense, Kiki?
Well, you know, I don't know about all that legal stuff, but I mean, being his defense attorneys, I get what they're doing. if I was his defense attorney, I would probably do the same thing too. But on the other end, it does not change my mind.
Okay. Bino, what you think, bro?
Well, I mean, based on your question, what does it change? Like me personally, I ain't really been like. I mean, I hear what I've been hearing and shit in the media, but like when it comes to like these these high profile cases, I really don't necessarily. I mean, we did a freak. I mean, that don't change it. That's what you're asking. Like, yeah, you're fucking freak.
Yeah.
As far as the Cassie text message, the whole Cassie thing for me, I don't really get what they doing the whole federal indictment behind Cassie for. Like, cause the whole Cassie and Diddy shit seems more like a DV case to me. I don't understand where they correlating her getting pissed on or her getting beat up with all the other federal indictments he got, which is sexual trafficking, racketeering, all that shit. So as far as that text message, I don't fucking have no thought about it. Like, okay, she was a part of the shit. One time she probably stopped liking it, whatever. He probably used whatever manipulation he used power to keep her around. But I mean, that shit don't do nothing for me. It just shows that one time she was just a part of it. Whether she stopped saying she was tired, whether she was tired of it or not, it just shows that one time or another that she was a partner in crime with him. So, whether she was tired.
That makes sense. That makes sense. CJ, what's up, brother?
What up? Y'all hear me?
Yeah. You good?
I'm here. I'm here.
Step one, brother. Step one. So
So we thought you had a Christmas hat on for a minute.
Yo, you stupid.
Oh. What up, y'all? What's up, Kiki, Bino?
Daniel.
I was good with it, bro. So we was just getting to the Diddy case, man, and I put up the charges. So right now, Diddy is charged with coercion, sex trafficking, and racketeering, right? Cassie took the stand for like 4 days, and within those 4 days, she was kind of giving a description of what was happening at the freak offs and all that. And I just showed them a text message thread that kind of confirmed her wanting to do them again. So my question is, does the new info that Diddy's defense attorney is presenting, pretty much saying that she was a willing participant, does that change the way you perceived Diddy or Cassie, and why or why not?
No, Diddy's still the same in my eyes. But Cassie basically if Diddy was a pimp, Cassie would be the bottom bitch.
Okay.
That's how I view that. And plus, I don't know how in depth y'all in this, but I think it was like day 3 or 4. It got confirmed that half of the drugs that Diddy got, Cassie had the source, not Diddy. So who really drug trafficking? Huh? The escorts? Diddy would just tell her that, we're gonna have a freak off. Cassie would call the escorts, pay for the flights and everything. So who's human trafficking, sex trafficking?
Ooh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Come on now. Who's really like, yeah, Diddy is a part of all of it, but shit, she no different.
Oh. Now I got another question. My bad. Go ahead.
Watch the one stand. She basically did her own grave, and I don't think she realized it.
Oh, tell me more. What you mean by that, bro?
By her saying that like, I know y'all said somebody text message. She had a text message where she would tell him that, she wants to set up a freak off. It wasn't always Diddy setting them up. She wanted to set one up. I'll call the people. I'll fly him in. That's sex trafficking, ain't it? She already know who the plug was for the drugs. They said in the hearing when most of the stuff that she was saying about Diddy in their situation, Diddy didn't flinch. But when they asked who was the one that was providing the drugs, she said Diddy. And that's when Diddy was like, really? Like, he made a face like, you really gonna say that? But as you keep listening to her talk, you realize it wasn't him. It was her.
Damn.
Yeah.
Now, I got a better question just from hearing you talk, bro. Let's take it off how we feel about it. Do you think that Cassie's husband having to hear this, do you think that changes the way he perceives her?
I can't say how he literally perceives her, But boy, if I was you, I want a divorce. Cause ain't no way, bro. This ain't just like statewide. This ain't just national. This is international, nigga. There's people in China watching this. Like literally, if you change your VPN to Japan, there's a live done by some tall Asian dude that's talking about the Diddy case in Chinese. Like, like, bro,
What?
they is across the country talking about Diddy, bro. No, I want a divorce. You told me it was just yeah. You ain't tell me this nigga had 30 niggas peeing on you. What you mean? And you was okay with it? You was with the shits? You ain't let me pee on you. I ain't gonna lie. Like, you imagine, you find out that your lady was about that life, do this, that, and the third, but then when you meet her, she won't even smoke a cigarette with you. Like, come on now.
So you think she turned everything off for her husband? If she
said she turned everything off. She said that her lifestyle with her husband is a 180 from her lifestyle with Diddy. That she said she went to rehab for drugs and all this other stuff. She don't do no partying, none of that. So imagine if he hear this whole entire thing, he like, you did what? And man, look, I'm surprised he sat in the damn court, to be honest with you. That's crazy work. Nigga would have got the fuck up.
Hey,
Hell
Kiki,
no.
So let's say, Kiki, let me make it real for you. Let's say you're not cashing the situation. Let's say you and Diddy had just started dating and he get hit with these charges. Y'all cooling, everything's cool. Y'all had a normal relationship. Your new information is you didn't know he was doing this with his ex-girlfriend. You're sitting in court. Does this new information change the way you look at your boyfriend or let's say your husband?
Yeah, he gotta go. Plus, he already looking at what life. I'm going ahead and set myself up to exit stage left because I'm not waiting. There's no need to wait. Sorry.
That's real. I like how new information in this scenario at least makes y'all pivot, right? And I think what's crazy is that on a worldwide basis, I don't know if anybody's going to move off of where they already were with this case. I think that they've already decided whether they were pro Cassie or anti Diddy. I don't know if any of this they're going to even care to look into it enough to verify any of this or to make sure that what they thought was true. But this is what I mean about the power of being able to change your mind. Like, what does it cost you to change your mind?
So is she the only defendant or is she the start?
No, she's not a defendant at all. She's
not a defendant at all. She got subpoenaed. She had to be there. She had to give us statement.
Yeah, she's a witness.
So is she the star witness or there like other people that's against him?
There's other people. There'll be other people. Yeah.
50 Cent went today.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50 Cent went today.
Yep. So, like I said, it's going to be a lot of things that come out, and I think that the judgment is going to get funny because I don't know if a jury of peers can separate their opinions about you versus what you're being charged with, because that's super important. I mean, if we're thinking about what actually happened based on her testimony, she could have made a case for coercion, but racketeering and sex trafficking is technically still on the table, because if they were all consenting adults, I don't know if the prosecution has done enough, because I ain't been keeping up with it, but just what it seems like.
Oh yeah, boy, I've been on it, boy.
Yeah, what you think, bro? You think that so far the prosecution has proven those 3 charges, bro?
On Diddy or Cassie?
On Diddy.
Because this is a RICO case. You could be a witness and turn around and get locked the fuck up too.
Oh, gotcha.
See, that's what people don't know. Like, when you in a RICO case and they know immunity and all that other shit, when your name is like one of the main red names on the list, like, hey, that's not how that shit works. Now I'm in a RICO case, so that's why I said she low key digging her own grave. So yeah, she's saying everything she want to say now, and low key the prosecutor and not the prosecutor but the defendant, they building an image,
right,
without saying it. But us in the audience is just like, girl, you need to shut the fuck up. Because at this point, you been with this man 10 years. 10 years, and you've already proven that you've already admitted to being the jealous type. You've already admitted to, like, you know, get into these altercations with this man numerous of times, and it wasn't until, and the only reason why you left in the hotel situation is because Diddy was having a freak off and you weren't there.
Oh,
You said you were jealous, so you were mad about that. It wasn't that, oh, he beat my ass and I left. No, you had on regular clothes and Diddy had on a towel. Like, he was already in his freak off mode and you wasn't invited. He was mad. Think about that. Like, she said that she doesn't like him doing freak offs without her. She says that in court. So I don't know, man. Like,
she was
at
in
this
love with
point,
him.
yeah, I love him, man. All right.
I mean,
10
but you know,
years,
some people gonna go to that extreme to do things they're not comfortable with to please, you know, whoever. I mean, I'm not
but
judging. I'm not into the case all like that. And I seen the video. I just thought that shit was fucked up, or whatever. But I know some people do go to the extreme to try to, you know, satisfy people.
and
To
what get me is that
fit in.
situation happened, what, 2014, 2015? So far, they still talking about ass whooping that she got in 2009. So it's just like, the one we saw on camera was 2014, 2015. So it's just like, you been getting tagged and you still was staying with this man. Come on now.
A lot of people do stay though.
I
A
get
lot of
it.
people do stay, and
But how
you ain't gonna get
long
it,
is it
and I don't get
before
it.
she's not a victim?
I don't know, because we don't know all the details. And you know, some people become the victim and become dead. You know what I'm saying? So they get beat to death literally. So I mean, I don't know. I've never been in like a domestic situation, so I can't speak on victims and stuff. So I mean, I don't know.
that's real. I think that's fair. That's fair to point out. Like I said, there's still a lot of case to go. To CJ's point, man. I think that if I'm being honest, no, I'm not going to put my theory out there because I'm thinking something totally different that I don't think even applies to Cassie or Diddy.
What was your thought process?
Got you. So this is what I'm thinking, CJ. I'm thinking that Diddy was supposed to be the vehicle to get them to who they really wanted, which was probably the person in charge of trafficking the girls in and out of the U.S. Diddy was a high-profile client, and I think they was trying to squeeze him to get behind to the pimp, which probably is running an international situation. I think Diddy is technically collateral damage, and I don't know if this was ever really about him. I could be wrong about that, but the racketeering, and again, you got to think about what they charged him with. He's not charged for the battery of Cassie. It's coercion, sex trafficking, and RICO, right? So I think that based on how the feds are charging him, I don't think that he was ever the end game. I think that he will be the piece to get them what they truly want. I could be wrong, but I think that there's a bigger play here. I don't think it's.
I don't know. I think what they doing is they trying to chop off a Cerebus, the 3-headed dog, and I think Diddy's just one of the dogs.
There you go.
That's what I think.
Yeah, it's
I
something
think
else.
Diddy's just one of the dogs. I think Jay-Z is number 2, and I think number 3 is probably somebody in politics. That's what I think.
I can see that. I can see that, and they're just connecting dots right now. Scanlight, what's up, brother?
What's going on?
Good, man. Good to see you. I got a hypothetical for you, bro. And we're going to kind of take it off of the details of the case because I think that there are people discussing this ad nauseum. CJ said they already international with it. So my personal question for you, I want to put you in the shoes of Cassie's husband, right? And so the theme of the show, Scam, is what does it take to change your mind? How do people process new information, right? And so in this case in particular, let's say you married Cassie. She's currently pregnant, and she has to testify speaking about all the things she's done with her ex. What do you do with that new information, Scam?
It's probably not new information.
Oh, you think the husband knew?
Probably.
Okay. You think hearing the details would change how he thought about it?
No.
What about the public scrutiny? You don't think that will make him move off of being with her, or you think he might be too far in?
Just like the, how can I say it? Just like the talking point where they say women are leaving because of money. You marry a dude making 50,000 and you divorce him. 10 years later, he's making 60 and you divorce him. It's the same thing.
Okay.
So you knew what this was, and then you find out what this already was, and then you change. Then you all of a sudden, like you marry somebody that's left-handed, you divorce them because you find out that they shoot basketball with their left hand.
I see what you're saying.
According to media,
yeah,
the Talking Point Mafia now, yeah, they can have it.
Oh, okay. So you think he knew, was aware of all of it,
or enough to know what this was? Yes, or enough.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that at the very least being a very frustrating moment, though, because like you said, I think it's one thing to know something; it's another thing to have to sit in court and rehear it. But that anger could have been from a source of reasons. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't been following it close enough to like catch the nuances of how he reacted, what he looked like. I wasn't that tapped in. I'm just kind of, getting the cliff notes and stuff. But it's interesting enough. But that's really the only reason why we even talking about that case. I got 2 more cases. The next one is also Starfield, but it's really the third one that I want to get y'all true opinion on, because that one is a little deeper than just celebrities doing celebrity shit. But before we get to that one, the Adriana Smith, because that one's super important to the topic, I do want to cover the Tory Lanez one very quickly and kind of get y'all take based on the timeline.
Free my nigga Tory.
And the new information. Let's see what we got. Said free my nigga Tory. So here's an update on his case. The incident happened July 12th of 2020 in Hollywood Hills. On July 12th, following a party at Kylie Jenner's residence, an altercation occurs in an SUV involving Tory Lanez, Meg The Stallion, and Kelsey Harris. Meg sustains gunshot wounds to her feet. Now, in October 13th of the same year, Tory Lanez was charged with felony assault and other firearm-related offenses. In December of 2022, he was convicted on all charges, including assault with a semi-automatic firearm, carrying a loaded, unregistered firearm, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. In August of 2023, Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison. As of May 12th of this year, Lanez was stabbed 14 times by a fellow inmate at the California Correctional Institution, resulting in 2 collapsed lungs and being hospitalized. He is currently in stable condition. He was also damaged in the head as well. Now, as of May 14th of this year, Bradley James, which was a bodyguard for Kelsey Harris, he submitted a statement claiming he overheard Harris admit to shooting Meg The Stallion. May of this year in 17, it was alleged text message from Tory Lanez that surfaced in which he claims he took the blame to protect Harris, stating, "I took the rap for Kelsey to protect 2 black women." So, my question to y'all, again, keep in mind this show is about having an opinion, getting new information, and what does that do, and what does it obligate you to do with new information? So my question, we'll go Kiki, Scamming, and CJ, is does the admission by Kelsey's bodyguard seem credible? That's the first question. My second question is, does this new information change the way you view Tory, Meg, or Kelsey? It's on you, Kiki.
What's the first question?
So my first question is, with the bodyguard's new information, do you think that's credible?
Was he not? Did he not give a statement in the beginning?
No, he didn't.
Why? Wasn't he? I mean, if he was in the vicinity and he was able, so he just overheard something. He wasn't there. Yeah,
the security guard disappeared.
Why?
Because technically he was the bodyguard of Kelsey. He didn't want his boss to get fired or get caught up, so he just disappeared.
You think that's it? So why he speaking now?
Based on what he said, he felt so bad about the brother being locked up in jail. He felt like he just had to say something. It was some guilt going on in his heart.
Yeah, because
I think he did it because he probably signed an NDA that was short term and it expired. That's what I think.
Yeah, so the timeline, even though I glossed over the dates, what happened was Tory was stabbed 14 times, and then 2 days later is when the security guard came out and released the information.
You do know, I don't know if you noticed, but the same day that Tory Lanez got stabbed is the same day that the security guard had touched down from an airport.
Wow.
Ain't that coincidence? That's also before he got stabbed, is also the same day that he did his 7th appeal, because he probably already knew about that security guard coming. All 3 things happened in one day. Got stabbed, security guard touched down from an airport, and he was doing his 7th appeal.
So Kiki, with new information, does that change how you look at anybody involved? Meg The Stallion, Tory Lanez, or Kelsey?
So, I mean, I don't give a doggone who it is. I'm not going down for nobody to protect nobody but myself. So I don't understand why you trying to protect these people and then you filed an appeal. So when you file an appeal, what are you saying? Like when you file this appeal, what are you saying and saying now that you're not guilty of what you got convicted of? Like how you think you're gonna change these people's mind without saying what really happened?
I got an answer for that. It's not a good answer because I have to use a logic that I don't agree with. This is what actually was alleged to have happened. Tory was having sex with Kelsey first. They had a relationship. They were having sex. He cheated on Kelsey with Meg The Stallion, which was at the time, Kelsey and Meg were best friends. They go to the Kylie Jenner party, and he was trying to have sex with Kylie, allegedly. And so what made them leave the party was Meg being drunk and getting into it with Tory, but technically Tory was with Kelsey. Does that track, Kiki?
So they basically in a love triangle.
Yes.
In a sense, but how the love triangle got confirmed was in the argument in the car with all 3 of them. It was Tory versus Kelsey. Then Megan decides to join in. No, it was an argument with him and Megan. And then in the midst of that, Kelsey decides to join in on the argument. So then Tory makes a statement saying, why you fighting for her? Why you fighting for your friend when your friend be fucking me too? And that's when they got into a fight.
So how he protecting 2 black women when he was fucking those same 2 black women?
What that got to do with protecting them in a gunfight or going to jail?
Because if he
2
was
different
protecting them,
situations.
then they wouldn't have been in that situation in the beginning. If he was keeping his stuff, it doesn't make sense. If you call yourself protecting somebody because you love them, then you're going to protect them. You're not going to put them in a compromising position. He put them both in a compromising position, and then he want to protect them again and put himself in prison. He put himself there.
I don't know about that. That's a weird argument.
I mean, you either you in or you ain't. You can't say you're doing something, but then you contradict that same thing.
No, I think what it is he was also trying to protect those 2 girls, but he was also trying to uphold that persona of being a gangster rapper and not snitching.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
that
snitching
part,
got him
that's
getting
dumb.
Regardless,
I don't care how good Kelsey and Megan look. I'm snitching, right?
Okay, but I'm snitching too, so I don't understand how he. Okay, so he fucking Kelsey.
He was
then
dating
he started
Kelsey at one
fucking
point.
Megan. So was him and Kelsey not exclusive at one time?
There was a whole couple. They broke up right before quarantine TV, which was near the end of COVID. And if you ever watched it, you'll notice that at one point, Megan Thee Stallion was on quarantine TV with Tory Lanez at his place. That was during the time when they was fucking around.
Okay, so and then what? Kelsey got jealous and she doubled back because ain't no way I went back.
I think what happened was Kelsey never knew that her best friend for umpteen years fucked her nigga. That's what that was. Kelsey swung first and then got her ass whooped by Megan. Then she went for that gun. When you get your ass whooped, you gotta go to plan B.
Yeah, home and put some ice on my wound. I'm not going to just no temporary.
So now that you kind of got more context, does that change how you view anybody involved, Kiki?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, whoever did what, but he still has some other charges that, put him there too. I mean, he's not even a U.S. citizen, so you got caught with all these, unregistered guns or whatever. So, I mean, he dug his hole a little bit deeper than what it should have been.
But that's the thing, though, Kiki. I don't know based on his charges. If he didn't shoot her and then had a gun, I don't know if he's charged with any of it.
Yeah,
Because
technically,
the charges are gun related, right?
Yeah, based off the charges, you couldn't even put none of it on Tory. He never even touched the gun. Hell, the gun wasn't registered to nobody in the car, but it was in the pocketbook or purse or whatever of Kelsey.
So he just took all the charges.
Yep.
Well, that's on him.
You said that's simple.
I think what he was expecting was that the shit was going to drop because there was no real evidence on nothing. And I think if he was a normal American, if he was a normal American, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he was a normal American, I think it would have worked out that way because ain't nobody say shit. But because you a Canadian, brother,
and then he gonna be deported back across the country line. When he served his time
he ain't gonna get deported. They gonna keep him right there. Where he at? Where he at? New York. He's somewhere. He in America.
Usually that's what they do. If you commit a crime over here, you take your ass back where you came from.
Not if they don't accept you.
Depends on the crime.
Well, are they saying they're not gonna accept him?
He's been in America this whole time. He already been charged and convicted.
But what I'm saying is that's where immigration come in. That's where ICE come in at. When people that are not born citizens commit crime here on American soil, they go to prison, they serve their debt to America, and then they get shipped back to where the fuck they came from.
Oh, you talking about after he served his time? Yeah. After he served his time, yeah. But as of right now, he's chilling in that California prison.
Well, yeah, because he got to pay his debt to America.
Yeah.
Or trying to protect people because he was fucking two people. It's just weird. I guess he should have kept his shit in his pants. But I guess he must have had little man syndrome and he felt like he could climb that tree and go over there too.
Hey.
Okay. So this is interesting. I wanna put this out interesting. So in the Diddy case, well, no, but you're actually consistent, Kiki, because in the Diddy case, you felt that it was the same. And in this case, you saying new information doesn't change how you view any of them? Okay. Got you. What part do you think? How did you feel about, what was your opinion about Meg and Kelsey when this thing first broke? What do you think about them in the scenario?
Well, I mean, I really didn't know the depth of their relationship or, how close they were or anything like that. I just know Meg from her music. I don't even know the other girl. I don't watch reality TV or none of that stuff, to be honest. But they weren't friends. They were never friends, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought say with the outcome that can be argued. Scam, what's up, brother? Scam, you still with us?
Took a nap.
Yeah, I was muted.
Yeah. What's up, brother? I know this is a little dust, but I promise you the show picks up after these two cases because I could hear the dust. I kept saying dust as I was talking and reading the screen. It was in my brain like he's talking about dust, but I hear it. What you think, brother? Does the new information from the bodyguard, does that change the way you perceive anyone involved in this scenario?
Considering I don't know who any of these people are, let court deal with it. I don't know what they got going on. Yeah, I'm not the person to ask.
That's fair. No, I can respect that. Most of the times you have people giving opinions, and like you said, they don't know, but they'll try to have an opinion, which is why I loved how Kiki asked the questions to make sure she could understand where everything went. CJ, what you think, bro?
My feelings towards this was the same from day zero. Like, I went to school for legal studies, bachelor's and all. Like, so when I was listening to all this, the moment they said there was no DNA on this man, I mean on the gun attached to him, but it had 3 other forms of DNA that was inconclusive, which means they basically was not trying to drop names, which was crazy. I don't understand that part. But you're also willing to admit that you did do a full test on Tory and he was not one, but yet you're charging him for a gun. Who is he then? Magneto? Like he just like, come on now. There were no traces of polyester or leather on the damn gun. So it's just like he ain't put no gloves on. There won't no latex on the bitch. So it's just like you can't. And I heard, man, it was one person, man, I saw on the live. They tried to say, oh, he could have cleaned the gun before the cops got there. Shut up. The chaos was still going on by the time the cops came. You know what like? If you really, yes, I know none of the folks that said that is from the hood. Like you don't know how to really clean a gun after it's been shot. If you really want to get rid of them prints, boy, that's a process. All right, and not a short one. You need water. I highly doubt they had that in there. Somebody go find the Ajax comic. All right.
Right. Yeah. Like that's not how that works.
And don't say piss because piss don't work for everything. No, and even then they would have found urine samples on the gun. So it's just like
now you got more DNA than you're trying to get rid
of. Yeah. So that was dumb as hell to say today. Oh, he could have cleaned the gun. That's why he's to clean the gun. You ain't from the hood. You ain't from around the way.
No, that's not how
we get it.
Works. But now this is the very important case that I really wanted to talk about today. The other two was just to feed the algorithm and to kind of touch on it because I know we rarely touch on topics like that in terms of like events and stuff. That's not kind of what we do. But I think that this next case is interesting. Before I ask the question, I want to go around and before I even introduce the case, I want to ask, where do each of you all stand on pro-life or pro-choice? If you don't mind, if you don't want to answer that, that's fine. If you don't have an opinion, that's fine. But I do want to kind of open the conversation with pro-life versus pro-choice and how you all understand.
Why, Strata, you touching some red waters talking about that on YouTube.
No, I know, bro. That's why I'm using the words I'm currently using. But this case is so unique. I promise it will make sense while I'm asking you this. I'm not asking for no reason. And okay, well, let's do this to be respectful. Don't answer that question, but think about in your mind where you stand. Let's do that.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's a touchy. That's a touch you want to say on YouTube.
Because like you said, I don't want to get nobody in trouble or you know what I'm saying. I don't want to make this any more to what it is because I think the case speaks for itself. But I want you to keep your belief in your mind as I go over this next case. Ready?
Yeah.
Everybody good? All right, let's do this. So this is a case of Adriana Smith. She's 30. She was a registered nurse. Her current status, she is declared brain dead as of February 2025. The pregnancy, she was 9 weeks pregnant at the time of the brain death. She's currently at 21 weeks gestation. Here's a timeline of what happened. In February of 2025, Adriana experienced severe headaches. She was seeking medical attention, but it was only medication without a thorough examination. Now, the following day, she was found unresponsive by her boyfriend. She was diagnosed with multiple brain clots and declared brain dead. So she had headaches in February. The next day, she was found unresponsive, and she has brain clots and was declared brain dead. Her current status, she's maintained on life support for over 90 days to allow the fetus to reach viability. They're targeting the 32-week gestation period. All right. So just to make sure we clear, she had severe headaches in February. The following day, she was found by her boyfriend unresponsive, and she was diagnosed brain dead. The hospital, Emory, has been keeping her alive on life support for the last 90 days because they're trying to target a 32-week gestation in order to deliver the baby. Now, here's the legal context of this. Georgia has a law called the heartbeat law. And in this law, it prohibits children deletion after detection of a fetal cardiac activity, which is around about 6 weeks, with narrow exceptions. Now, the implication here is that despite Adriana being legally deleted, the law is interpreted to require continuation of life support to sustain the fetus. Now, here's the family concern. The mother's statement. April Newkirk describes the situation as torture, expressing anguish over seeing her daughter's body maintained artificially. Another one of the family concerns is the lack of autonomy. The family feels stripped of the decision, making rights regarding Adriana's care due to the state law. And lastly, the update is there's a fetal health uncertainty. Doctors have detected fluid on the fetus's brain, raising concern about potential health complications.
Man, look. They treating that girl like a lab rat.
Tell me more.
I mean, I'm pro-choice for sure, but you know, whatever you feel is best for you, but also don't be out here just destroying fucking fetuses because you reckless anyway. But if it's like health detrimental and whatnot, or like you got raped or some shit, and I get it. But in that situation right there, hell no.
Hell
They
no.
treating that girl like a fucking lab rat.
What do you think they should do?
They should end the whole pull the plug. Pull the plug, because ultimately, cause I asked my mom about that shit. You know, she a big time big nurse and type shit. She about to get that MSN or some shit like that.
Salute, Ma.
And she mainly work with OBGYN and whatnot. So I asked her about that, and she said that the kid probably not gonna make it. I said the chances be a lot higher if it was like this happened when she was like maybe 7, 8, like 9 months, almost at the end point of it. But because it happens such at a crucial stage of the pregnancy, the odds are that baby ain't gonna make it. They basically wasting their time. And that whole, what she say, the fluid thing is mainly happening because of the fact that they got her in one position at all times. Said that's something that can happen to a person that's bedridden but pregnant. So the fact that she's like literally sedated on a bed at all times, she's not walking around, she ain't shifting left and right. You know how when you get pregnant, Kiki, you know you gotta move over, you gotta adjust and all that stuff. It's for reasons. My mom said that fluid that they talking about is because she's literally positioned in one spot at all times. There's no shifting. Yeah, they need to pull the plug on her for real.
Okay. I'll go Scam Likely and then Kiki. Scam Likely, what are your thoughts?
The state and the medical, big pharma and the three-headed monster, insurance, food, and whatever. They don't care about you living now anyway. They're trying to get, I mean, food, pharmacy, and insurance. They want your money and they want you to die or to be the living dead. You living, making money, and them getting all of it. So I don't expect anything different. But the right answer, I want to say pull the plug or C-section. And then, or if the baby can be survived, C-section. If not, call it quits. But my expectations of the system aren't too high anyway. You got to take yourself when it comes to your health.
That's fair. That is fair. Kiki, what you thinking?
They're wrong. They're wrong in a whole lot of reasons. When she passed away, they should have let nature take its course. The baby was already nowhere near developed. It takes 40 weeks for a fully developed baby. So even them trying to get to 32 weeks, it's still risky. And then, you know, as a woman, you got to eat for two. You're doing what? Artificial, vitamins and shit like that, trying to make sure the baby gets its nutrients. It's not going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen. And then I asked the question, but I didn't go research it. I'm like, what is the state of her body? Because I mean, nothing is living besides the baby inside of her, and they're keeping that baby alive. So her organs and all that, you know, all that is detrimental to the health of the baby. That shit is sickening. It's like the baby is sitting in a casket. In a casket. It's it's terrible. And then the bills that's gonna come with it. So just in the teaching hospital, my son was there from May to August, over $700,000. So how do the insurance play when she's already dead? Because I'm pretty sure there's no medical insurance still being paid on her behalf. So who's that bill gonna be put off on? Then they said she have a 7-year-old son that constantly goes to the hospital who's thinking his mama is gonna eventually wake up. That's trauma. You putting her whole family through hell. They can't even bury their loved one in peace and go about their life to try to cope without her because y'all experimenting. I guess you're trying to see how long you can do keeping somebody alive to keep a baby alive that probably will have, what they tell me, little to no significance in life. That's weird. And then you want to put it off on who? Are y'all going to support that child if it's, got all these medical defects and stuff? Are y'all going to support the child financially? Are y'all going to come in when her mom, who is 50 plus or whatever, and help her after she already got a 7-year-old to support? That's weird. That's weird. It's just a whole lot that comes in play with it. And I feel like they dead ass wrong for that. It's weird. It's pro-choice. You should be able to do whatever you want to do. You should be able to do whatever you want to do, how you want to do it.
I ain't gonna lie. I think with so my father recently passed, right? Like November or December. And by the time I made it to New York, he was already deceased, but he was on life support, right? So the machines was breathing for him. And, loved ones was around him and stuff. And I had a level of indifference because I knew that the machines was the only thing keeping him alive, right? And so, of course, the family's doing the right things, like they're playing his favorite songs and, touch him and console him. And in my mind, I didn't want to be rude, but because I know what I know, I knew he was already gone. Like it's the most surreal feeling to see a body have natural movement when you know there's no life there. I don't know. It creates a conflict in you, right? Because what it does is it soothes a sense of false hope, but then you're crushed up by the reality that when you start looking at the blood pressure, the heart rates, you start to know that's too low for anything to be existing here, right? And I know that the family, my father's side of the family, I know that they kept them that way so that people could get there in time, just kind of pay their last respects before they unplugged them. But removing it, I think made it painfully clear for everybody that the machines had been doing the work since he was unresponsive when he showed up there. And so, to your point, Kiki, that's exactly what it is. There's no life there. That's it. I mean, that's kind of all I got on it. But I think that remembering that and then thinking about this case, it just kind of gives me the chills, because there's no way that if you have been someone that has watched a loved one or somebody on life support, there's no way that you experience that and have any level of hope outside of let me make peace of it. Like, that's more, in my opinion, I think that they do that more for the living. And to Scam's point, again, I can keep you here and charge you another day or two. Now we can run the rates up because technically you've been expired. But I know that stuff like that is done more for the living than it is for the person that's passing on, right? So it's a ill confliction. You know what I'm saying? I'll say that. What you got, CJ? I think I heard somebody come off mute.
Boy. Yeah. They just trying to get a quick buck out of her.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna do an autopsy on what was the issue with her head. Like what headache that you can have that ultimately makes you brain dead. Like what was going on with that? I think that's something I noticed that I ain't seen nobody talk about or no information on it. Just she had severe headaches and then all of a sudden you brain dead. I would just probably had to make a decision to let him go.
Yeah, he was speaking to his father.
Oh, I was about to say who? Oh, okay.
Yep. And like you said, anybody that's been through that, you know that it's tough because again, the body still has a natural motion. You still see the chest coming up and down, but it's something about even with the eyes being closed, you can tell that there's no life behind the eyes. It's hard to explain, but if you see it, you'll know. Like it's really just for the living, and I'll leave it there. But I think y'all get
Yeah, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely think they need to pull the plug. What state is that in?
Georgia, I think.
Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to hit up Aunt Jean and see like on the legal side, like what's up with that, and see if she could tell me something. You know, Aunt Jean used to be a judge. She retired now, but I could probably hit her up and ask her like, she give me like any info as far as like legal matters. Is there any way around that shit? But she didn't have the dude that she was with. That was just her boyfriend, right? Not her husband. So legally, he can't even do nothing about it. That's crazy.
Yeah, bro.
And it sounds like she ain't got nobody on no documents to be like next of kin to give like say so on anything.
That's a solid point. Is the fact that she probably doesn't have
nothing.
I think in the medical field they don't call it a DEATH packet, but it's kind of like most people in the healthcare field. They know who their power of attorney is. They know who has the final wishes. So they kind of assign those people because they're around it a little bit more. So they already kind of got it worked out. Who decides what and what do I want you to do if I'm in a condition where I can't decide for myself? So to your point, CJ, that is kind of maybe I don't know how long she had been a nurse, but I do know a lot of people in the health field, they are very proactive because they see it at a higher clip than the average person does, right? The average person don't think about the mortality because most people aren't put in a scenario the way you have to even consider it, right? And so I think that them being in that field, they're a little bit more realistic with, all right, let me decide this now while I'm in my right mind versus being in a scenario to where
it's too late.
Yes. Because to your point, CJ, had this been a sign,
definitely,
this might have been
it
over
definitely
already.
was too late for her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. It might depends on state. I'm not sure. But my son was 18, but he was still considered an adult to a certain extent. So depends on what they're asking, he's an adult. And then in the other way, he's still pediatric. Weird shit. They still give me the run around with a lot of stuff. Oh, he's an adult, but then he's pediatric. Like, make up your mind. But I do know that being at ECU, I know that most people that are there long term or over a certain extent, they get a caseworker. Mm-hmm. So you get a caseworker. What is the word? They get a caseworker. Well, anyway, we had to have a meeting with the caseworker, the doctors on the team, and it's a word that comes in, but it's not for like if somebody's actually going to die, but they help you.
Hospice,
yeah, hospice. Yeah. They still got with me and his dad and his granddad. They asked us, who we wanted to because he was, not married. So I was his next of kin. So I guess her mom is the next kin. That's why she's still there. But they said that the state stripped everybody of their rights only because she was pregnant and because of that law that they have. So if she wasn't pregnant, then it would have been nothing to her mom, is what I'm thinking. But because of the fetus, the state stepped in.
Yeah, that's why I said I need to hit up Aunt Jean on that to see like what give me the breakdown on like why they able to do that if it's supposed to be something law related.
Yo, is your Aunt Jean available now? Because we can keep rolling with the show. We'll come back to this if she's available.
I mean, I could check real quick.
Mm-hmm. So like I said, I thought that was very interesting. And I know that advanced directives.
Advanced
shout out.
That sounds familiar.
Shout out to T. That's my old lady. She's a case manager at a hospital. So
Okay.
she, you know, we
You
were
said
talking
your old
about
lady.
start the show. Yeah, shout out to the old lady. Yeah, that's my baby. But that's something that we really was I was talking to her about, like, yo, how are they doing this? Like, you know what I'm saying? How does it work? And I think Kiki hit it on the head, is that the fact that there is a child involved, if you don't have any directives in terms of what to do in a scenario like this, I think that might open up the state to make a decision like this, which is probably more political. And to Scan's point earlier, has more to do with the system working over a layup than anything. Go ahead, Scan. What you got, bro?
No, I was gonna say I actually heard something about a month ago. There's actually a guy who talks more about stock options than anything, but he was talking about the advantage of being married over being single.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm single. I'm not married myself, but it was a wake up call. Talking about if you ended up unconscious, if you ended up sick, just kidney missing, whatever happened, you in the hospital, and now they pick up the phone and call your next of kin, whatever. And somebody got to make a decision. Do you have people in place, knowledgeable people in place, to know how to get you through that system? Or are you going to end up a victim of the healthcare system? And honestly, I don't. You can call my sister way up. I'm not married. So,
right.
And I live out of state. Like, hopefully somebody can get to my sister or whoever, but then they got to stop their lives, come all the way around. Versus, like, if I were married and connected to other people, to where it's like they already know, call this person, check on this, this is what we have, and they show up and start asking questions and getting answers.
Damn.
But the truth is, have some people that have your back in the medical system, or decisions will be made for you. And he used to work in healthcare who was saying this, and others in the healthcare administration have told me that money comes first. What's your insurance? How does this work? How do these payouts? And some of the decisions are based on the money before it is your health. Like, oh my God.
Damn. Bro.
But there's nobody there to answer, hey, what's wrong with his lung? It wasn't happening 6 days ago. Oh, he had this surgery 6 months. Is nobody there to vouch for you? They can tell you something. They got to start from scratch and figure it out, starting with your bank account, then your body. And they treat backwards. They don't go to root problems like holistic health does. Like, what's happening? Why is this thing happening to this person's health? It's no, how do we just stop it? Surgery, all this alternative stuff.
Yeah. I've got a piece of my lung missing now because of that very thing, Scam. My disease is so rare that they literally just took a piece of my lung to confirm that I had what they thought I had. It's not lymphoma, but again, it was kind of a pointless surgery, because even if it reoccurs, they're pushing for, or they've mentioned another surgery to take another piece of my body. And I told them, for what? There's no active cure on the market for it. So you would almost literally just be doing the surgery for the extra money. It had nothing to do with confirming what you already know I had. It would have nothing to do with treating it, because there's no active treatment on the market, and pulling another piece of an organ from another part of my body wouldn't help shit. But to your point, if you aren't aware, then it's very easy to get gamed by a system that you think is there to help you. And I don't think that everybody in the healthcare field is necessarily evil, dark geniuses out to get your money. But I do think that the infrastructure makes it so that even those that are exposed to it, the only thing they can do is educate us, because they're not even in a position to where they can stop any of this, because this is systematic. This is a little deeper than how your nurse feels about you personally, or you having a good doctor that cares about you. No, this is a little deeper than rap, because it goes way even above their heads. and I think that they do a good job of keeping us educated, right? But Scam, I'm gonna keep it tall. I've been listening for a while. That is the first strong argument I've ever heard about marriage when it comes to health and healthcare. I've never heard it put that way. That was interesting. That could be motivation to do something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I see it as a perk. Of course, don't marry for healthcare, but
yeah, right.
It's just a thing.
Damn, man, it's probably not gonna go back in the army, marry for the BAH again. Well,
yeah, it's just a thing to know. And I gotta admit, if I had somebody advocating for me, it would be different. I'm healthy, I don't got no problems now. Or a single woman, them by themselves, they're at the mercy of the system when things pop off. Versus if they're married, they got somebody going like, hold up. This is her medical history. This is what's going on. This is what happened 10 years ago. No, we don't need to check for this, but you might want to check for that. Oh, she's taking this medication. She's not taking it. Oh, I don't want to hear the scar tissue scam. Nope, not that. Oh, we got to run some tests. What type of test do you need to run?
That's a bar. Damn, that's a bar.
It's different. But truthfully, if I was unconscious in the Everglades, it's what it is until they get to me, because they can take 2 days before they contact the next of kin. By then, I'm missing a lung, kidney, and an eyeball. Then they sold them on eBay.
Damn, bro.
Yeah. But no, don't get married for healthcare. No.
right.
You might get the plug pulled on you even faster.
Right. But it definitely does help put that security to have somebody that you know is going to advocate for you, that it can be reached very soon. So I definitely agree with that, bro.
And the people who are married, learn about health, learn it together in case of this, as well as with the children.
That part.
Yeah.
That part.
Learn about health as much as possible, because it might be one phone call, one decision, and one leg not grow back the same. All it was a sprained ankle. They'll do that to you.
Type shit. No, that's a fact.
But be able to cover your spouse, man or woman, and be able to advocate for your people.
That's a bar. And like you said, I think that even that comes with a different level of transparency that maybe married people won't even thinking about, right? Like, how much does your spouse truly know about your medical history, what you actually been through, where you are, what would you want to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a different type of conversation versus how many bodies you got. You feel me? You care about who I had sex with, but you have no idea what the fuck is actually going on in my actual body. But you care about what was in it for a little time. You care about who humped it, but can't tell me what conditions I got. People crazy.
Priorities.
People are batshit crazy, bro.
Oh man.
That's different. That's good. Now I want to get to the philosophy of new information, man. I think that those are some pretty solid cases to get us to actually start having a real conversation, right? So my first question, and this isn't a judgment about whether you think the belief should be changed, but my question is, why is it so hard for people to change their minds and beliefs on anything?
Because they grew up with being taught a certain way, and everybody around them was taught a very similar or literally the same exact way. Thus, it seems like it's the norm. So, and then don't let, like, after all these years or decades of them seeing the same thing, being taught the same thing, the people around them being told the same thing, and nothing in your brain ever said that, oh, you're doing it wrong, or this is different. No, it can't be. Everybody's doing it. My mom's doing it. My dad's doing it. My siblings do it. The pastor at the church do it. Lady down the street do it. This is all the same. And then somebody outside that environment literally says a different thing. Then it's just like, okay, well, how the fuck? Now I want to change. Fuck what you doing, nigga? What you mean? You tie your shoes this way? Bitch, I always keep my shit loose. What you talking about? Like, it's just based off the environment that you in. So if you're in an environment where they was taught a certain way or raised a certain way, and they go into a different environment or meet with people that are literally taught a whole different way, yeah, it might be hard to change them.
Damn, that's a bar. Kiki, what you got? Why is it so hard for people to change their minds or their beliefs? Why is it so hard for people to do that?
I think one reason is lack of knowledge. People aren't open to learning something new, learning something different, or understanding somebody else's culture as to why they believe or view certain things. Um, a little bit of ignorance, to be honest.
Mm.
But yeah, that's just my thing. You know, people they come in the habit of, hey, is this way or no way? It's just how a lot of people are. They know everything, and that's what it's gonna be.
Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. Scan, what you got, brother? Why is it so hard for people to change the things they believe or think?
People are taught how to think. Unfortunately, the three-headed monster is usually the first approach. Shame, abuse, neglect. Neglect means you got to figure it out on your own as a kid, which means you're going to have a child's mindset all the way up into adulthood because you weren't taught how to think as an adult. You're taught to think as a child and make adult decisions as a child for years. Abuse restricts you from actually making a decision. They tell you that they're beating you into making a decision, but they're not because you don't have a choice. It's do it this way or die. So your mind's conditioned. If you do something outside of the norm or do any extra thinking, you die. So your thinking stays in a box. It becomes fear-based. And shame, if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization, confidence, all that kind of stuff, belonging. When you lack everything in between and you have to get those in survival mode, the easiest thing to do is just conform, nod your head and say, yep, mm-hmm. You got 30, 40, 50-year-old people scared to even go against a talking point. And it don't even make 5 cents worth of knowledge. Or wear what's supposed to be worn. Most people are just doers and followers. They're robots. And critical thinking is lacking. But it becomes comfortable. And then if you take a discipline factor, it's very hard to change what you already know or already do. Starting with like diet, fitness, religion. This bringing restricts people from asking why and how. It restricts them to just going and doing the same things. It's deeper than that, but that's kind of a start that people can understand.
That's a bar. Damn.
But we were taught, a lot of people were taught to get along with to get along. If you don't, you're shamed. If you don't, you're wrong. If you don't, you're dumb. Or if you don't, you're beat. Or something fear-based is going to happen. So get along with to get along like everybody else.
Fuck.
And then you find that everybody else you're trying to get along with, they trying to get along with something else. Then they try to get along with the celebrities and TV and the media. And then very people trying to get along with something that don't even exist. So it's better connect some kind of value system, which I'm always going to push religion because it's a foundation and those principles, the very base principles do work.
Okay.
Further connected, the better. Further off, the worse. It just is what it is.
That's a bar. Damn. Cooking
I
the day.
Yeah, I ain't perfect. I dusted the other day.
You was dusty the other day. What you got at 2 Scam?
Man, I'm thinking all this diet fitness thing. Even said some stuff on the panel. Went and hunted, stopped at 2 different stores looking for lemon cookie Oreos and ate the whole thing. And sprayed my jaw eating them. Then like, what in the hell did I do that for?
Yo.
But just because I knew, got out and went to go seek them, eat them one by one, knowing I was the one talking trash about discipline. Like, now I got to hit the reset button and back up and start back over again. It's more just the fact that I knew and did it anyway.
Yeah, that stubbornness is different, bro.
Like a dude talking about dick discipline and then going and raw dogging in the street on Tuesday. Yeah, you can. Yeah, Wednesday's a new day, but come on, bro.
Tuesday still happened though.
Yeah, and you're looking at yourself like, what? Come on, the condom was right there. Or I could have abstained. Or like saying, man, you could have just said no and went to sleep. That's kind of like what it was like. But there's always a reset button.
That's a fact. That's a fact. You got breath in your body. You got another day to get it right. That's the important part, is being aware. But I think it starts there. And I think that honestly, what normally happens is, I think that in order to overcome the fear scam, you have to first be aware. And I think that the fear only works as long as you stay ignorant. So you're only afraid of things that you're not really sure about, you're ignorant about. But the moment you become aware enough to ask why, the fear starts dissolving, because then you realize that no one can answer the why in a way that makes what you're doing make any fucking sense. And I think that that gives you the confidence and the courage to change. So I totally agree with you, is working from the top of what we call the pyramid. That part is super detrimental to overcoming the fear, to not make it hard to change your mind based on you believe in something different. So I think that, like you said, it starts with the self that eliminates and eradicates the fear, which helps you conquer the ignorance to change your thought patterns. But I don't know if any other order outside of some random one-off scenario, like you said, most people are dead set on what they're dead set on. And anything that challenges that upsets the hell out of them.
Change is uncomfortable.
That's a fact, bro. That's a fact. Now, don't matter what higher power you subscribe to, I think that that's the part that challenges most people, is that it seems like the harder you declare something, whatever it is, there will always be an opposing force that shows up to even check whether this is what you truly believe in, or are you truly like this? We're about to see. Let's just say life has a funny way of, putting things back on you. I'll just say that. I like it. I like it. I like it. Let's see. What's my next question I got? Ooh. Now, we can change the second part of this because I don't want to get hung up on the celebrity cases, but I was thinking about it when I made the question originally. So, negate it or speak to it depending on how you want to answer the question. But the question is it more painful to admit when you were wrong, or to change how you see someone you admired? And let's take a celebrity out of it. Let's say a loved one.
I think it's more painful to see someone that you admire, because if you had, like, in your mind they were this like superhero, this like demigod or whatever, and then you finally see the cracks in the armor, it's a disappointment. So I think that matters. I mean, people can internally feel like they're wrong and it don't affect them like that, but something like you seeing like a certain parent that you like really looked up to is like this overpowered person or this great person, this very smart person, and they slip and fall on some ice in life, and now you just it hits you internally and externally, because you now look at them like, damn, I looked up to you like this my whole life, and the whole time this is who you really are. And then from that point, from that day on, you'll never look at them the same way again. That's the part that's real crazy.
Follow-up question, CJ. Who do you think shares the brunt of responsibility of that? The person that let you down, or the expectations you set for that person?
I'm going to say the person that let me down, to be honest with you. It's like a part of me wants to say the expectations, but I think it's different when you put the word admire, because if you put the word admire, that means this person literally, you didn't have to have expectations. They carried themselves a certain way. Okay. They moved a certain way. They followed up a certain way. Like for me, like you know me long enough. You know I ain't no cheating ass nigga. So let's say, one day you catch me cheat. You like, damn dog. You was the homie. Like you don't be doing all that. You ain't even on that. And now you ain't gonna never look at me the same. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so something like that, like a person that carries themselves that way, they talk that way, they move that way, and then one day you find out they don't move like that no more. So it's like it's gonna hit you. It's not about expectations, where you and your old lady, you got a mindset that you got in your life, and because you picked her as your old lady, you are giving internally an expectation for her. Now you might can verbally talk with her about them, and then if she's following them, cool. And if she fucks up on one of those expectations, it's gonna hit you a little bit, but she just gotta get back on the track and get back moving. Right. But when you admire somebody, you admire what they already are. They're already displaying this characteristic. They're already moving this way. You see what I'm saying? So there's it has nothing to do with you for expectation. This is literally how they're displaying themselves anyway. Like Superman was Superman before you read the comic books. But then the first time you found out that Superman can get bitched down by a fucking green rock, you've never looked at that nigga the same. You never looked at him the same. My favorite color my whole life was green. So when I finally saw that Superman got bitched down by a green rock, I'm like, really, nigga? Nigga, my grandma got a necklace with a green jade on it right now. That shit ain't never done nothing to me. So I'm just saying, like, sometimes it's different when you put the word admire at the end. That's somebody that they already displayed a certain way.
Got you.
So I think for me, I think that would hit you harder.
That makes sense. That's fire, bro. Okay, I like the follow-up. Scam. Is it more painful to admit when we're wrong or to change how we see someone we admire?
Hey, side note. I think Scam was finishing out them damn Oreo cookies. That's why he went on camera that whole time.
You thought about it, Joe. I got a few bucks.
He was talking about it, but he was like, I'm going to finish these motherfuckers up on this camera.
No, I did good today. No, I'm all right. And yesterday. I don't know, because you threw the very thing. You threw my very rebuttal, which is expectation. Mm-hmm. That is my rebuttal about when somebody hurts you. And man, I can't believe this person. Okay, let's look at it as a whole. If it's your best friend, if it's your spouse, whatever, been dealing with this person for 7 years, worth throwing all 7 years away? Was it worth making year number 8 hell? Can it be fixed? What was your expectation of the person? And look at yourself and think of the stupidest things you've ever done. Like times where you actually watched yourself be stupid and didn't even stop it. What grace would you want them to give you? Or the thing that you're about to do 30 days from now to that same person. But it's is what is, because what did they do? How did they do what they do? Can you work through it? If you can't, if you'll never see them the same, you can't click a button and then see people the same. But look at the whole thing. All right, somebody scored an A- instead of an A. Hey, I get it. Right. But if they just flip the whole 180 on you, somebody went and beat your wife for you while you were at work, I mean, I get it. You got to shoot them. Right. You can't work with that. Right. Somebody's perving kids out here or doing some... You just flip that and throw that person away.
Real shit.
If you can work through it, or maybe something was there and you didn't see it, I don't know. Damn. So, man, it's just kind of in the gray area.
I feel you. I like it. I like it. Kiki, you still with us? That's a bar.
Yeah, I had to,
You cool. No explanation needed. You know what's up. You know the count. So my question for you, Kiki, is it more painful to admit when we are wrong or to change how we see someone we admire?
Change. The second part you said, because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't mind saying I'm wrong. That don't hurt me because I'm not always right. But say it again so I can repeat.
Or changing how you see someone that you admired.
Yeah, my views on somebody that I admire, or I trusted, or had a friendship with, any type of relationship with, or even a coworker. Because I mean, that's some type of relationship too. I mean, anybody I come across, a pastor, anybody, and they do some fucked up shit, yeah, that's gonna hurt me. Especially when I looked up to you and I expected more out of you. So that's definitely gonna hurt me.
Okay. I like it short and sweet. I like it. Let me get to my next question. See how further down this rabbit hole I want to go. Give me one second. No, we got that one. Let me see. Yes. I like it. I like it. I like it. I think, yeah, I'll probably shift over to reflection after this one, but this is a good one. So my next question to y'all is, how much of your identity is tied to the beliefs you hold? And what happened when those beliefs are challenged? How much of who you are is tied to what you think and what you believe? And what do people do when that belief is challenged? It's a two-part question.
Hold on. You try to rattle people's brains and shit.
Yo, my bad, bro. You know I finished putting this show together at work. I'm gonna keep it tall because y'all know I sent you the slides very late.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I think I worded it better before I put it at the bottom of the screen. But it is definitely a two-part question. But the first part is, how much of your identity is tied to the beliefs that you currently hold? And what happened if somebody challenges those beliefs?
Okay. All right. If I had to give a percentage of how much of my identity is tied to the beliefs I hold, and my beliefs are not just like religious beliefs, it's like my own standards and morals. If anything, the military has a very big section of my beliefs, not just me being in the military, but just my parents. It's like 80%, 85%. The rest of it is Orlando. like 80% is definitely tied to just my own personal beliefs and shit that my dad and mom have like engraved in my head, and the rest is just the hood. And what happens if those beliefs get challenged? I got to swing. Like I know, like when it comes to like relationships and shit, like a lot of my standards and morals, I don't bend for none of that. So it's more like if a girl was to try to shoot a shot at me and she don't even link up to just those standards and morals that I already got, it's dead. And if she try to give me pushback, that's just irrelevant. You still a stranger to me, so it's just like be gone. So, but if I got my own standards and morals and whatnot, I got my own beliefs, and you trying to push some other shit on me that's not only outside of my own beliefs, but it might even go literally against it to the point it's more disrespectful, then yeah, I'm gonna come at you crazy. That's when I'm gonna become the asshole that I am. So yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to find an example that sits more on the gray or subtle scale. Because like you said, a direct opposition against your principles, yeah, I expect that reaction from most people that have deep thoughts. But let's say, and this is just an example for you, CJ, but I know it might not apply to you directly. Let's say your life, you grew up baking pork chops, all this shit, right? You in the pork, we from Carolina. So this is realistic. You take a month and a half, 2 month visit to Africa, and you start to realize that ain't no pork chops over here. And you be like, yo, what are pork chops? They're like, yo,
we don't do that.
Yeah, we don't do it over here because based on this scripture, this time, we don't fuck with the pig. Like, what do you do when it's challenged in that way to where it's not a direct opposition to you? Meaning no one's gonna like, I'm gonna fight you because you know it ain't that. It's you're in a new scenario with new information that is bumped right up against something you used to do. How do you handle that?
I just adapt for the situation. Like, yeah, I love my bacon, but it ain't like something that's just like, hey, niggas got to die if I can't get a pork chop today. So I'll adapt for the time being. Like, you know, I'd have been enough deployments over there where I knew they didn't fuck with no pork. So that ain't that big of a deal. I can handle that, but the niggas better have like some beef bacon or some shit. Like you gotta compromise or something. So I just found out that beef bacon was even a thing. So it's just like, yeah, they gotta at least compromise or something. But yeah, I could adapt to the situation in that scenario. I don't know. I have to take a moment to think of one that would like really push me.
Right. And I think you know exactly where I was going because I could totally agree with you. There are certain things that if we're talking about a direct challenge, meaning you're invading what I believe and you're trying to impress something on me, I definitely understand the idea of at least fighting against it. But when you find those gray,
only one I could think of right now, and even though I'm not as violent as I used to be, at one point these knuckles was rated E for everybody. And that was when gay niggas used to try to shoot they shot at me. And then they would try to press it. Like don't knock it till you try it. I'm like, nah, I'm good on that shit, bro. I ain't about that life. Like, that's not me. Like, I mean, but you hey, fam, like, like yeah, scam. Motherfuckers was like that, bro. Like, I used to have to punch a motherfucker, bro. Like, no, that's not me. Like, I used to blink on motherfuckers. Like, stop. Like, that's not me. That's not ain't nothing in me that says, oh no, I'll try it. Fuck no, nigga. I won't try Brussels sprouts, nigga. Like, I'm not.
So that's not your bad. That's just not
So I think that's a good example, because at one point, yes, a couple of you fruity motherfuckers definitely got tapped in your fucking jaw with my fist a couple of times. Like, just if a nigga say no, he mean no. Like, I think that goes for everybody. Like, no
That's
means
real.
no. Only difference is I'm swinging. All right.
I got it. That's a bar. Okay. Kiki, how much of your identity is tied to the things you believe? You on mute too.
She's still thinking.
Yeah, I know she's thinking, but I just want to let her know she's on mute.
I don't have like a percentage.
Okay. How important are your beliefs to who you are?
They're very important. I can say what I believe is how I live out here in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's certain stuff I'm not going to do because I a certain thing, or I'm not going to associate with certain people because of what I believe. Stuff like that. I really can't give an example. I don't have a good example to give.
Oh no, you fine. What happens when your beliefs are challenged? How do you normally react?
Peacefully. I used to be the ballot type, like CJ. Anybody can get the knuckles. My first fight in high school was a boy. I mean, not in high school. My first fight was elementary school. I fought a boy.
I mean, that would make sense for Bertie.
I'm all right. Let's track him.
I think almost every girl that got in a fight at least one time fought a nigga.
No, Kiki had hands, like he just has hands. So.
That's pain.
Yeah, back in the day,
Mike Tyson shit. She another Giovanna.
Yeah, bro. She had hands, bro. We'll just leave it there. She ain't lying.
But I don't get ballot anymore. I try to reason, understand where somebody's coming from. I look at who's actually, trying to challenge that, because sometimes people just ain't worth it. So I stop stuff on the road, try to keep my peace.
We just stumbled into something here. Kiki, what challenged you to make you stop fighting? Because technically, your children.
I can't raise kids from jail. I can't raise them from jail.
So when did the shift happen? After you had kids?
To be honest, after my third one, because I was still fighting with the first and the second one. Yeah, you touched me, I had to, reach out and touch your back, pregnant and all, and you fuck.
I feel it. That's what's up. I like that. That's dope. Turn it off. I don't like the fact you was fighting people pregnant. Let me be clear. That's not what I like. I like the fact.
Okay. I wasn't the only one that heard that. I said, fight while pregnant? Like, you fucking
No, we don't like that.
Okay, you heard it too.
Yeah, we don't like that.
Did you say fight while pregnant?
What I was saying was I like the fact that she was aware.
Yeah, that's 2 against 1. That ain't fair.
Y'all don't like that. Y'all don't like that at all. Hey, bro, I'm proud of Kiki. Shit, yeah. Like I said, she's come a long way, bro. And I think that I like the fact that when your current belief was challenged, she was able to about face and change it. Because what she was saying before was, I really don't have, things that really get challenged because she was what it was. But by mentioning what she used to do, that was a belief system that if you mess with Kiki back in the day, you had to see her hands, but then she stopped it. So again, that's why I was like, what challenged that belief system? And kids will do that. They'll make you have to grow up because now you got to think past just you, right? So that's what I was saying I like. I do not like and condone pregnant women throwing and trying to catch these hands. That shit ain't cool. But Kiki, we glad you passed that part of your life. Praise God. And I know there's a lot of people.
Hands while pregnant is crazy.
Yeah, Kiki. Yeah, that's Kiki though.
She won't even protecting the baby. She was just mad.
But Kiki don't really.
Like she had no concern. She like the baby fine. You would have in trouble.
Kiki don't really lose by that. But another conversation for another day. Anyway, shout out to Bertie. Scam likely.
No, for real.
Let's get up out that jam. How much of your identity is tied to your beliefs that you hold, and what happened when those beliefs are challenged?
A strong amount of my beliefs. Because some of y'all who know me see me beyond the troll, because I can have real conversations too.
Oh yeah.
If I had a belief system, I'd be probably a white collar criminal.
Damn.
Aside from core value, I mean, if there's no God, if ain't nothing after this life, why not go rob somebody? Why not just whack somebody and take them? Why not? After you get through all or whatever, pulling the trigger the first time, they say it becomes easier. Mm-hmm. Why not just start ganking people? You only got one life to live, it's limited, whatever. I mean, literally, I didn't have that much of a conscience when I was not a violent person. I can be, but as a teenager, before I started really learning about what being about Christ really was, the conscience wasn't really there. So yeah, it'd be a totally different person. But when beliefs are challenged, initially you can try to have a conversation. If it's on the dust panel, try to have a conversation. If not, just go ahead and troll the person to death because they ain't gonna listen no way. Start fire up the dust, blow the whole panel up, go 1-on-6.
This man does not be caring, bro.
Raise blood pressure to the max.
But
then a lot of times after the dust settles, then sometimes you can actually get the conversation in. People all burnt out, socked and swollen, then you can talk to them. But no, or sometimes the beliefs are challenged. Sometimes the beliefs are challenged by my own actions, and it's just me. And I had to go back and like, all right, what am I doing, man? Man, she got a fat ass, but man, come on, bro, wake up.
Challenge of yourself.
Hey, she's cute. You can do this, but come on, man, that ain't right. Yeah, I can tell this person to really let this person have it and blast it. No, use your soft skills. You don't know what they're going through. Sometimes you got to be disciplined. Sometimes, like I think I said it on this panel, I'm naturally judgmental. It's a thing I've been fighting to change for years. And sometimes it comes out. Like somebody says something you don't like, the initial things, man, he's stupid. And I want to smack myself in the back of the head. Hold on. They didn't grow up how you grew up. Listen to what it is. They might be in pain. Might be this.
Boy, listen.
But sometimes me and my own value system with my own self have to go and say, all right, what are we doing? But I have no problem speaking up for myself when it comes to people trying to get you to do other stuff. I have no problem with that. I got no problem with verbal confrontation, or I'm a worse troll in real life.
I can believe that. I can believe that. You're saying so much, and I feel like you're answering the question, and me and you are having another conversation without you even being aware of it. But that's dope. But I'll definitely agree with you. I'll say that my natural instinct was always to be extremely violent. I think that I've been conscious about shifting to a role of more diplomacy, but it doesn't always go that way all the time, right?
Are you violent initially? Or are you avoidant first, then violent?
Yeah, I think that's the shift, Scam. So I almost, that's the
shifted to become more avoidant than violent.
Yeah, I've shifted to become more avoidant. Yeah, but at first I was on 10 about everything all the fucking time. Like it would trauma, hurt, just a lot of conditions. You kind of get to a point in your life to where you have been reactive to all the things in your environment for so long that you get proactive and instilling what you think to come. So violence becomes the first thing you dish out because you know what it's like to be on the other end of that, right? And so a lot of times it becomes a race. Who can get there first? Who can sustain it the longest, and who can come out alive, right? And then you get to a point in life where you realize, wait a minute, this shit. There's a different level of luck and blessings for people that I know personally to still be here on this side. Like my brother CJ is one of them. You know what I'm saying? Kiki kind of tell you a little bit, but like the shit that we've done, seen, and been a part of, it's not by chance that we're here to even be doing this pod with you, Scam. And even to your point, I think that's when you start to understand why you shift, is because that is not sustainable for a long period of time. Right? So, yes. But again, you know what's crazy, Scam? I think that, well, let me ask you a question, Scam.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that while you're in the process of changing, that you should lead with admitting what you were? Or should you just embrace your new shift wholeheartedly with no concern or no care about what the past was? How do you do that?
Combo of both.
Okay.
Because you got to raise your hand and say, I got a problem. You got to identify the problem and the problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
And then your confidence level, it's like, you know what? I'm going to be the person I'm going to be next year. I'm going to start being that person now. I'm going to work on this. I got this. And if you saw me 5 years ago, totally different Scam likely. I didn't have the patience to listen and hear things or see the whole picture. It was just, this person said something, they're stupid. I don't want to talk to them. Or I'm going to tell them this and then just no. Versus really hearing like what is, like seeing the whole thing. Or just, and still a work in progress. But I'm naturally more avoidant in real life because I just more like disassociate. But the violence, I never saw any benefits in it. Dude over there barking some stuff. There's nothing over there for him. Ain't no money, ain't no ladies. I'm gonna go over there to his world of misery. Now, if it comes to me, that's a different story. I can't get to my car or just go and eat a sandwich. Okay, that's different. But if I can just go to eat a sandwich and this dude barking, talking, you got it, bro.
That's dope. That's dope. I think that's definitely
because I don't take him seriously anyway.
Huh.
It's really saying like, man, what you looking at? Translation. Hey, you're doing good in life. Come over here and join me in misery. Nah, I'm not. I'm not. I don't see any money. I don't see any reward. So no. But everybody's just circumstances are different. But it's cool that you saying you realize the violence ain't the way and you transition to being avoidant.
Yes. I'm kind of feeling in that area if I'm being honest with you, but I'm stubbornly doing that in this one scenario by choice. I can admit that to you, Scam. Because you don't have all the context. So why it's fun having this actual conversation with you.
Maybe I don't want the context. What you
don't. Nah. It ain't worth the context. But that's why I said we're having a double conversation, which is why this is very intent. I'm learning a lot from just listening to you. I appreciate it. You don't have to know why. That's not important. But to be aware of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and stubborn enough to know that it's going to happen anyway, right? I think that is even a level of growth that I couldn't have done a while ago. To be aware that I know I'm doing it, and it's like, this some bullshit, but it's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
have you ever watched yourself be stupid before?
Yes. Absolutely.
Like literally, there's two versions of you. There's you sitting at the bar watching, and then there's you over there doing something stupid, and you telling yourself, "Hey, man, that's some stupid stuff you're doing," and you looking back and saying, "Shut up."
That's a fact, bro. And that's why I said, bro, I know where I'm at in this process and I'm cool. But yes, there have been a lot of situations that before I took off, I knew this ain't gonna go well. Fuck it. And that's normally the last thought. The last thought is always fuck it. But I'll say this do scam. I was never one to make excuses or justify me being wrong. I've never done that. But I've done some wild shit that I know won't right. But I was never one to fool myself and lie to myself about what the hell I was doing or why the hell I was doing it. I don't know if that makes it better or worse, but that was always a thing. I knew it was extreme with the reactions and shit. I did it anyway. And hell, I think CJ was probably the same fucking way. Like, we knew.
Who, me?
Yes, nigga, you.
Oh no, see, I'm worse. Just passing by to say what's up. What up, PJ? I'm worse. I'm a firm believer that an eye for an eye isn't enough.
Okay.
That's how I feel. I'm a firm believer in that. Hey, I am
like,
a
we're
firm
doing so
believer in that. You stole $100 from me. All right, well, I'm still in your car. All right, that's worth way more than $100.
But
Like,
see,
and sometimes it's get back, and then there's petty get back. There's stealing your car, and then they're setting that bitch on fire. I don't know. It's just different. It's just different things. I'm the type that'll just take a trip and come visit you because I track down where you stay, and I treat you like a fucking bitch for a second because I'm gonna beat your ass and then go home after I try some of the food in your neighborhood.
but CJ, there was, oh man, you could have went to the park. You the gym. You were on track. You got off the track, packed a suitcase, took a day off of work, went way out there to go do something, and there was nothing there for you.
It was. See,
and you got burn marks on your neck, inhaled some fumes. No, understand it. I mean, and y'all get this part. Every bad decision off the track makes you a worse person.
To who? That's a construct in my mind. How can you be a worse person unless if you're viewing me as a worse person? That's just your point of view.
No, hold on.
Somebody else could have heard the scenario and be like, "Oh, I agree." That means they don't view me as a worse person.
No, I'll explain it. If you were supposed to be at the gym,
mm-hmm.
You could have worked overtime or met with a client. I don't know what y'all do. There was something better, and you missed it because you went all the way out there somewhere, and it was something worse. And trust me, I used to not have a conscience. I know dirty justice does feel good. I can't lie about that, but it's still something wrong. I know what it's like when I have a
conscience. I can't challenge it. Exactly. Like it's
not even a challenge. It's more like I
know what that feeling is. Trust me, I know that feeling. I get, but there's good, there's better, and there's best. We get it.
Good, better, best. But these categories do not exist to this thing over here called the wild card.
Come on.
It's just dope, man. I hear you. I tell people if you knew that you could get away with committing a crime, no matter whatever the crime is, if you knew for a fact you can get away with it, would you do it and how often?
I'll be honest.
And regardless of regardless of the quantity of how often they would do it, I never heard somebody say that they wouldn't do it because the fact they knew they can get away with it.
I'm gonna say I wouldn't do it, or up in the 90-something percentile I won't, because I get more satisfaction of walking away from not doing something dumb than I do from doing the dumb thing.
I don't know about that, because if I knew,
I give you an example. First time I fell in love, because somebody told me this when I was working. I thought, man, it's whatever. He said he was married. Him and his wife was tight. He's like, he wished Holly Berry would have approached him to ask him to cheat, so he could look her in the eyes and say, "Get the hell out of my face." He wanted that opportunity. And I remember first time I was in love, I didn't care who the woman was. Hey, want some peanut butter vagina, I'd have been like, no, I got something better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's supposed to be like that. When you rocking so strong, hey man, we can rob a liquor store. Like, you know what? My morals, my values, I ain't got to. I got everything I need. Y'all got this. Hey man, you want to beat the shit out of that dude that was talking trash? No, I actually want to forgive him. I want him to go home to his wife and eat a steak, and I want him to be a better person. Am I all the way there? Hell no. Most people know. But you get where I'm going. When you I only seen LeBron James, Ron Artest. Y'all remember when somebody threw something at him and he ran up in the stand? What you running up in the stands? You on the court. That's where you're supposed to be. You the one making the millions. You all pro, all defensive team. And you up in the stands. That ain't where you're supposed to be. Nothing in the stands for you.
Damn. I cannot.
NBA player in the stands. And you're supposed to be on the court.
Damn. Yo.
I hear you.
Matter of fact, it made him have to take his jersey off. You want to be in the stands? Now you are in the stands. That's what ended up happening for a whole year.
Yeah, see, but he committed a crime that he couldn't get away from. That's why I said, if you knew you could commit a crime that you knew you can get away with, would you? You said no, which sounds crazy. Because if I know I can guarantee rob the bank that's hidden below Fort Knox, because Fort Knox is not the main bank for those that don't know, I would.
Well, okay, possibly, but under different moral terms.
Meaning, as long as you say yes, that's all that matters to me.
Meaning, rob the bank not to steal the money, but rob the bank to go do something, shifting it from a crooked bank to moving it somewhere else, and it can possibly.
You'd see now you added morals and standards. I ain't caring about none of that. I'm just here to.
And I throw all the morals and standards. No, I can't do it. I'll eventually go and end up giving the money back 3 days later because I won't be. Like if it was direct, like robbing a person, innocent man. I know he got 400 G's in his briefcase. If I did it Tuesday, I can't sleep Wednesday and Thursday. I'm gonna end up giving him his briefcase back.
How long did it take you to get this level of awareness, Scam? Or was it let me ask another question too. How long or what event can you remember that pivoted it for you?
Apologizing 2017. 2016.
Yeah.
Now, I tell you what happened. One of my friends from high school, 10th grade, used to collect basketball cards, and we used to have all the price guides and everything. We knew how much every card was worth.
Yeah.
My friend, he was cool. He was new, moved from North Carolina, matter of fact. My other friend and him, they was kind of shaky, but it was all kind of cool. And he got a bunch of CD. He was a spoiled kid. We got basketball cards. Ooh, I want to see what y'all. We know what everything worth. He don't. So we get all the shiniest, good looking, that ain't worth nothing cards. Put a book together, go over and hustle them out of a bunch of CDs. That weighed on my conscience from 2015 all the way to 1995. All the way to 2017. Finally, I called him and apologized because I thought he knew and it was just lingering in the back of his head. And that he'd never met. And year after year, I wanted to just call, just look, man, I give you the money with it. Funny thing is when I called him to apologize, he say, man, I ain't know that. What? He didn't know we hustled him. But it was like the fact that you apologize, I mean, it is what it is. Because I just I know you'd never do nothing like that to me. Like I borrowed money from him. He, I look out for him, looked out, but that one thing always weighed on me.
Damn.
And just 4 years ago, I apologized. But do I want something carrying on my conscience like that? Because I make all excuses why I can't apologize. We went done business together. Was in college and traveled a couple times out of state. I got $10, he got $0. The next time he got a 20, I ain't got nothing. And I could never say, hey man, you know what happened in 95? 22 years.
Damn.
I don't want to go through that again.
That's funny.
I guess that does come to a level of self-awareness, bro. I see that now. And
I knew I was wrong
y'all.
then, but I just kept lying to myself and lying and lying and lying and lying. Finally, I couldn't take it no more.
Yeah.
I get it.
I can respect it. I'm just not there yet. But I
there you go.
Exactly what you're
somebody
saying,
said it.
and you are the path that I'm working to get to. But I'm not gonna lie to myself in this moment and say, damn. So I guess to answer my own question, when presented with new information, I don't readily accept it. If I'm being honest with myself, with the title of the fucking show, because he just did it. He just explained why his way of thinking, and probably the last 3 questions he answered, why it would make sense to shift totally and about face. And
now, Strata, you know how I know when you get information, you're not readily going to accept it. But I don't want this pod to switch up from what I'm about to say. Nigga, you went almost 3 weeks straight arguing against the manosphere.
Oh, you can dust the manosphere off at will. Hey,
yeah,
go
they tripping.
Hey, my man argued. My man threw heads, feet, and every lock on his head.
Yeah,
I've been beating them up for 2 years, so I mean,
yeah, they openly don't like me. But here's the part that's interesting, CJ. This is what I said to y'all. I think that what people missed during those 3 weeks was my beef was never with the ideal of the manosphere. My beef was with the negative effects it has on people that are indoctrinated by it.
The talking point mafia?
Yes. That was always my beef, is the people that are propagating the very things that they do not understand to those that are more ignorant. So for everybody that understood it and took the value out of the information, they're good, right? They applied something that was new information. Whatever they got from it, they got the results they wanted and didn't harm nobody in the process. That's cool. But my argument was and always will be, for everyone that understood it, there's 10 more that didn't. And we're left to deal with unsolicited propaganda that no one signed up for, because you just can't about face and say that, yeah, you got the information, but you read it completely wrong.
Well, Strata, here's the deal. There's full manosphere. There's anti-manosphere. Then there's the middle grounds where we'll just let the conversation keep happening, going in circles, and get the money.
Holy shit. That's crazy. That's what it is? That's the 3 spheres?
I didn't say anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
What's up, Callie?
There's a such thing as believing and standing on something. There's a such thing as falling back and watching things happen.
Damn.
Or letting things happen. As a leader, leaders stand for what they believe, and they influence towards what they believe.
I agree.
Like one of y'all who know me, I'm going to talk about diet and fitness. I'm going to talk probably about keeping your hands off the damn kids.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand on it. It's not going to change. Sometimes I might be burnt out and let it, but if somebody asking me, I'm going to tell them 20 reasons why not to whip your kids. Or shame them or neglect them and all that kind of stuff. I stand on it. I do it in real life. I might have a different approach. I might have a softer approach than Monday than Thursday. But it's pretty consistent. Diet and fitness, stuff I'm going to say is probably going to be consistent. It's not going to be just whatever. Like, I can see that in you, why you blasted the manosphere, because you saw something was wrong. You have your side, your approach, and you believe, and you know something is wrong. So your goal is to influence and move people, or at least if it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, somebody's going to get bruised and socked and swollen in the process. But you got to get this point across so somebody can hear it and feel it.
That's a fact. That is a fact, bro. And I think that is where I get it. The banner's so big, bro, that it's so easy to identify the worst of you with the best of you. Like, Scam, you know, we don't making no secrets where we from. We from North Carolina, Burt T County, small place.
Mhm.
We all repping Burt T, cool, but we all are not the same mind. And I can start reading you certain charges from people, certain stories. And to me, repping them for the sake of the banner is disingenuous, or allowing them to wave the banner when it's not held correctly is where I be having a problem with, you know, because so many people subscribe to it to where I'm checking this one person for this one thing, but because you got something positive, you're offended because somehow me isolating the cancer offends the healthy cells. I think that happens a lot back here to where you question the idea, you bringing it up the task, right? Let's see if your idea holds up to real life shit. Most of the time it doesn't, which is why we call them talking points. You feel me?
Absolutely.
And so what happens is because the idea is attached to a banner that you like, it offends you for it to be torn down. When, like I was telling CJ and people I told us about Manosphere, I think the Manosphere needs an overhaul. It needs a recorrection. I think the idea of self-improvement, no, who the hell's going to argue with that?
I agree with that.
You feel me? Like who's going to, in their right mind, as a black man, say, I have a problem with black men self-improving? On its face, who the fuck has a problem with that? No. It's how you implement said improvement and what results are you yielding? Like what fruit is being bare by the seeds? And for every good apple, I can show you 10 that are completely spoiled rotten. Perspective, I guess.
Yeah, me and you kind of agree with some base things. Positive reinforcement is needed.
Mm-hmm.
Confidence is lacking. Identity crisis is on the rise. And it can't get just to the base things. There's men and women dating. We all know that 90-something% of people are not taught how to be in relationships. They weren't. So have grace for the woman you're talking to. Have grace for your homeboys and people. Understand nobody was taught. Understand that most people are failing, even the married people. Failures happen. Though, of course, in the manosphere, anybody ever failed before. It was somebody else's fault. It's okay to admit that you failed.
Yeah.
I have failed many times.
That's a bar.
But the basis of two people liking each other never comes up in the conversation. This woman just doesn't freaking like you. Key right here. She might say CJ is cool because he is, and I just can't work with that freaking scam likely. She can do that, and it's okay.
Right.
She doesn't know if I have a job or not, or how tall I am. She might just not freaking like me.
Right.
And if she doesn't, she's going to talk to me as if she doesn't. And she can do that. There's no manosphere court. They don't even talk about, I barely ever hear the word attraction. And they're allergic to the words communication. And that's 70-80% of relationships. 90% of the dudes have a job and they're making at least 30, 40 to 50, whatever. They're already making it.
Yeah. Yep.
Every county, every city you go to the 1 or 2 bedroom apartments. There are men and women going in and out of them apartments and a child seat in the back.
That's a fact. That's a fact, bro. And that's the new reality. And so it's almost like
some of those women are very pretty. Now, some of them ain't looking right and dude settled, whatever. But some of those women are very pretty going in 2 bedroom apartments.
Yeah.
So it means that dude's doing something.
There you go.
Or that woman must be something. But they've got all these unrealistic realities. I've still not to this day been asked, excuse me, can I see your W-2s? That never happened on a date.
Scam. Let me say you this. I'll say this from not my anecdotal experience, of course not, right? But I'll admit that I have heard an example of people actually trying to use these talking points in actual conversations.
Happened
And
to
it
me.
went exactly as awkward as you would think it would go.
Strata, a woman hit me with talking points a year and some change ago.
Shut the fuck. What?
I even mentioned it on the panel.
I think I remember you telling.
First date was cool.
Second
date, she hit me with some talking points. I'm like, oh my God, is this really happening? And I told her 3 times, you don't want to have this conversation. She insisted. All right, cool. Well, I just don't want to waste my time. I think that a woman should, I think that a man should, because what content creators, what YouTube junk you been listening to? It was Kevin Samuels. It was Kevin Samuels. And then she said high value. And I'm like, all right, I'm already jiggling for my keys.
Right then, that got you. High value. That was it.
Then I'm just like, look, just one, a man should do this, and I should stay home with the kids, and yeah, I should. Okay, cool. Tell me what you know about developing kids, raising them, nurturing, even having kids to begin with. Silence. Why don't you stick to what you know? You know how to go and get a job and work and do that. So before coming to somebody like me and telling me what I got to do, and you ain't even prepared to do what you're asking, I think you need to know what you. And she even admitted as I'm walking towards the door. Well, I mean, I did grow up without a father, so I really don't know what it is. Sounds a little graceful. And she's like, I don't know fully what it is, like how this is supposed to work out. Okay, well, that's the thing you need to stick with. Find out what works best for you. Instead of listening to all this junk about what you deserve and stuff that you're not even ready for. But women have said some dust panels or regular panels, I asked, and some in the chat even said that they've been on dates with dudes that threw talking points. So what do you think a man protect and provide and the 106 figures purpose? Women have told me they've been hit with this across the dinner table.
Bro.
And it's the most unattractive thing that you can ever think of.
Bro. Dog. I'm telling you, bro. Like this
Shout out to Kelly Bear. She hates talking about
yeah, I always rock with Kelly. She gonna always put them talking points to the fire. She gonna see what they hold up. You better be strapped in for the ride. Because like you said, I think that's what it be, Scam. Like, I don't think the inception of what it is bad. I just think that it's very, very tainted. And I think that when removing the propaganda and you turning it back on self, who the fuck is going to argue that? Because if that was the intention, then nobody in their right mind is going to say this is a bad thing, fuck the manosphere. No, if the manosphere is literally a mirror and helping people identify things they didn't see before, who the fuck's going to push back on that? But when you start perverting anything, and see, this is what kills me with people that are extremists in anything. If I make it religious, you would completely understand it. But then when I put it back to something you believe, now it don't make sense to you. For example, this is the propaganda I use. So Scam, in my mind,
cheat when they use religion, they cheat. They pick pieces and not the whole thing.
Right. And this is why I take it even more extreme. So watch this. So Scam, if you grew up Southern white, right, and you were a part of the KKK, and you were indoctrinated to believe that the Aryan Nation was the supreme race, and you had all the stats and the figures to back that up, based on skull size of the Caucasoid and based on statistics to say that they're leading in every category. And then you went out into the world and you realized that black people weren't what you thought they were. Right? It kills me when people can understand that example of, I'm just challenging what you thought was true and I'm offering some correction. People can identify that example and say, the KKK member is stupid. But then when I put it on something you actually believe in, it ain't the same no more. How isn't it? You came to a truth that you believe to be true. You put it in front of people that didn't believe the same thing. Your standard of what you thought is no longer holding up to someone that is critically thinking it through with you. What's the difference?
Well, that's when it's time to say you're a simp.
Okay.
Wait for CJ to start over talking you, and then we start jumping you, or pay $50 to get you kicked off a panel and run from the actual trip.
Okay,
That's funny.
But CJ, can you? I don't know if you're married or single. Married, single?
I'm single on record, I guess you could say.
If you approach Key and she said no, would you be cool with that? Or would you take it a talking point?
In an alternate universe, I'd say no.
You would be cool with her saying no to you?
Well, that's why I had to say alternate universe, since I don't approach nobody. So I guess the alternate universe me would probably be an asshole about it.
A girl told me that she said she was in a grocery store. A dude came to talk to her, and she was like, no. He pulled out his phone and tried to show her, you know how much money I made last year? I made 93. The stuff people be telling me.
Dog. But then it's almost as if Scam, I don't know whether they don't believe that this shit don't work, or whether there's two things. And that's why I say all the time, bro. I think that when you internalize the self-improvement part and you do the work quietly, it's great. But screaming that you're doing the work to people that aren't obligated to acknowledge your work or don't give a fuck about your work is where you get kind of delusional, because no one gives a shit but you. And it's almost like there's certain things that are beyond your control. And so when you're talking about accountability, I can't hold your environment accountable if I'm talking to you. The environment is going to be the environment. Now, the idea is that your self-change will reflect to the people around you, right? So in my mind, I was always taught, control the controllables, adjust to what you can't control. It yields better outcomes, and it gives you something that you can focus on while everything around you self-corrects. But I can see how if your train of thought is to look outside of yourself, why what I'm saying would bother your spirit. I get it. I don't know if I can stand down from that though, Scam.
I don't know, man. Shout out to the manosphere. Hashtag Team Red Pill. Fuck you, blue pill niggas. What's the other colors?
I don't know.
Black pill. Y'all niggas is suicidal. Y'all need to get y'all shit together.
Green.
Purple pill.
I don't know.
Y'all figured it out, so it's still fuck y'all. Y'all got a balance. Is there any other color pills?
I don't know.
If there's a green pill, that's my favorite color. If it's green pill, y'all probably the ones that's just nonchalant, chilling, and high as hell. So y'all cool.
Skittles. I like Skittles.
This nigga got a bag of Skittles at this point.
Fuck if I know, bro. But yeah, that was an interesting little deep dive. Giovanna, what's going on with you?
Hey y'all, how are you?
Giovanna, good. What's going on with you?
I'm sorry, I'm on the highway, so I'm a little late to the party.
You cool? How's your day?
Very busy, but it's okay. I'm off the next 7 days, so I'm good to go.
What's up? That's what's up. That's what it is.
Giovanna ain't never off, bro. She'll say she on vacation, still moving around. She'll say she's still in motion. She don't know how to just sit down.
Ever.
I do.
Watch, sit down, get you a nice bottle of Menage a Trois, and watch Grey's Anatomy. Like, just sit down.
Nigga, did you just tell her to drink? Never mind. Let me shut up.
That's a little wine. I will show you the bottle, but it's already filled away.
Okay, that is a brand of wine.
It's actual wine. Yeah, Menage a Trois.
I be chilling though. Hey Kiki, hey girl, we had fun the other night.
Oh, so they linked up. Oh, okay, that's what we doing now, huh?
But yeah, they went to the.
You come back to the States and link up with Kiki, huh?
You was invited to, Jay.
Nah, it's too far. I'm in Fayetteville.
No, it was in Charlotte.
I was in Charlotte. Yeah, that's still too far.
That's cap. Cause I went about 4 hours. So look,
Nah, I was busy. I wasn't gonna be able to make that anyway.
Yeah, I just had a wedding that weekend, or this weekend that just passed. A long story. It was
You
a
was
great wedding.
DJing for the ham sandwiches. I saw that.
Yeah, I did a ham sandwich wedding. That was dope though.
If you don't cut this rap music off with these old white folks, they ain't listening to that. You see them folks in the background doing a hold down 2-step to some gangster shit. If you don't turn this damn song strong, they just pretending that they know what they doing.
Hey man, they want to be cool for the black DJ. I love it. These people funny. All right, I got one more quick question and we'll wrap the show because we've been up here for a while. It's been a great show, man. I appreciate these type conversations. It slows things down. It's like questions 4 or 5 levels deep, and it's a little deeper than just men, women's. Like, let's see how people actually process things, right?
Boy, hey Strata.
What's up?
Strata, fuck this question. I just low key got mad at a lot of people right now.
You know I gotta always throw a curveball in there.
I read that and like, do you know the Rolodex that just in my damn head of all the people that I defended for, only to find out that they was in the wrong. And the crazy part is, most of them are women.
Oh,
you know how you be defending the girls because he done Ike Turner her some shit. And unfortunately, in most of them scenarios, she threw the first punch, threw the first pot. She was the original Mike Tyson before he finally hit her. Like, y'all ladies gotta learn that at the end of the day, unless you built like Giovanna, don't be swinging at these niggas, man.
look, not too much for me.
Well, you gotta keep your fish, you good.
Yo, Giovanna was in a black dress on, I think it was Instagram. She over here flexed. I said, this lady like she curling 45 dumbbells and she'll take that dress off and put some combat clothes.
You better leave it alone. Look, I'm
over here looking like a buff George Foreman in a dress.
Like a man. He already counted me.
That's funny. So you said you have defended someone only to later realize.
Man, too many, bro. Way too many. And most of them was ladies. And unfortunately, in most other cases, they was in the wrong. They was in the wrong, like, drastically. That wasn't like, it's like a tit for tat. No, they more than likely initiated it. They more than likely used the weapons of any kind. And it took however long before Buddy finally hit her with a mink. But by that time, he was the one with the black eye and a stab wound in his rib. Like, he was trying to get out of the situation. He was just losing and said, "Fuck it, baby, I'm out." Like, I'm gonna call my brother. Then we get there and then we try to figure out what the hell going on. Why he bleeding out on the side of the sidewalk? Oh man, yeah. That's a lot. Way more ladies have disappointed me in those situations than men.
And what did it take for you to admit that they were wrong?
Oh, what do you mean if they was wrong? As soon as I found out, I cussed their ass out on sight, man. Strata, I'm an asshole. The moment I found out that they was in the wrong, I'm instantly like, you dumb. Especially if I done beat the guy. Right. We done put that work in, and we over here like, what you mean? Like, what you mean? You started it. What? I thought he was lying when I was punching him in the face. She hit me first. I don't believe you. And then we found out, no. That's exactly what happened.
Oh, shit.
No, man. Look at man, it's way too many scenarios like that. So at a certain point, man, I had to hit him with I had to be like a Strata. Like, before I take a foot out this door, what did you do?
Yep.
Okay, what did they do? Don't even tell me. What's their number? Because before I step out this door and cause hell, I need to know, is it worth it?
Exactly. What the fuck are we walking into? What really happened?
Yeah, man.
That's a fact, bro. That's a fact. You know me well. Kiki, have you ever defended someone only to later
realize fuck Rose say
they were wrong? What did it take to admit it? Oh yeah, Rose is on your biscuit, boy.
I only think of one example, and I got this cousin who I stood up and I was gonna defend her in any and everything. And once I had a conversation with him, or he told his side of the story, and then people started exposing her, and I'm like, girl, you got me ready to take this girl out all the way up there to the courthouse, ready to press charges and whatnot and shit. And you're the one that's provoking him. Piss me off, because I'm creating enemies for what? For what? I just my black ass business. I don't care. No, as long as it don't come to my front door, I don't care. I don't care, because people will have you out here looking crazy. I'm not doing it. I don't even defend my kids like that. I'm gonna go see what happened. I'm gonna get their side of the story, especially in school. You said what happened? Oh, okay, let me call the teacher. Going over there, get their side of the story. I'm gonna make sense of it. It's gonna be a thin line in between of it. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is what happened. You ain't tell me all of that. I'm not one of those, right or wrong. I'm support my child, this and the third, or I know my child committed a crime and I'm gonna help them skip state line. So you're going to jail. You committed this crime and you think you're gonna have that, you're going to jail. Matter of fact, I'm about to call the police. You're going to jail.
I don't know. I'll support my daughter, because she the type, she'll snitch on a damn self. Be like, so I did this, I did this, but daddy, this is why. Like, she'll snitch on herself before I even go through anything. I'm gonna tell you what I did. Yeah, I kicked her in the face. Yeah, I hit her with the chair. Yeah, I bust her lip, but this is why. Like, did the story come? All right, let me hear the story. Yeah.
But not in like a disagreement between, two children or anything like that, because you're gonna have disagreements. You're gonna learn to, how to get out of them. So that's part of growing. That's part of life. But I don't teach none of my kids to steal, cheat, rob, kill. It's that type of stuff I'm definitely not supporting.
Gotcha.
I like it. Scam. Have you ever defended someone only to later realize that they were wrong? And what did it take for you to admit it?
In 2021, I came to this space called the Manosphere. And I was on the side of the men's. And then I started listening to men talk. And here's the thing. These talking points are supposed to be for a certain group of men towards a certain group of women. It's supposed to be a piece that just requires people to think. They're not Bible scriptures. So I understood some of these concepts. So I would speak with them and stand alongside men until men started talking. By 2022, I became a full-fledged troll. I started the Trolluminati. I founded the Trolluminati probably in 2022. The deepest set right now is the Trolling 60s.
He got official gangs in this.
Yeah, Trolluminati is deep. But it looked a certain way. This is what happened. This is what's wrong. And I can see that. But I didn't see the whole thing. I didn't know there was going to be grown people yelling at women, slobbing on microphones and veins popping out their heads with talking points that don't make any sense whatsoever. I didn't know. 2021, I was wrong. I'll leave
that is a hell of a reflection.
That is hilarious. That is funny as shit.
No, they're saying, yeah, there's single moms out here, leaving marriages and whatever. I know some who should have worked their marriages, whatever out. I know some of it, but I didn't know that they were making this. This is all black women and everything wrong because of black. And I didn't know that this was no. My breaking point was this. They said that Tyreek somebody, the Memphis dude got beat by the police officers.
Yeah.
When they said the problem with that was too many of these men were raised by single moms. Is why the police beat. That was my last straw. I was done. Men beating on a dude. And I don't even know what happened with the case, but they found a way to bring that into single moms.
That's yes.
Weird example, but in real life,
no. It makes total, like, I'm tracking exactly what you're saying, and I think that I get exactly where you're coming from, Scam.
Yeah, but in real life, I don't get in the club fights and all that. I'm the one trying to, hey man, come on, bro.
Bring it up.
No, we're not doing this, bro. That's me.
Yeah, okay. That's dope, bro. I think that like I said, I'm always diplomatic till I'm not. So I feel you. I think that I pride myself in the growth of how long in between the times where I don't have to be diplomatic. And an attempt to get to where I can always stay diplomatic. But it's a process, Scam. You know that.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. Just gotta be honest about it, though. You feel me? I ain't gonna be up here lying to y'all about it or lying to myself about what it is. I know what it is.
And even the most peaceful of the peaceful have a hot button. I can blow a gasket tomorrow.
That part.
99% chance it won't happen, but there's that 1%. Somebody can push that button.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fact, bro. That's a fact. I think that the acknowledgement and the effort is where it truly, truly counts. Giovanna, you get the privilege of answering the curveball question.
Uh-oh.
Where'd she go?
Gone.
Oh, there she goes.
Look, well, Lord. Because if you truly know me, I already know this answer.
No, I gotta ask it. I gotta ask it for everybody else to hear.
So the question,
someone only to later realize that they were wrong. What did it take for you to admit that, Giovanna? And go.
Oh yeah, so I will say yes, I have. Of course, I was a whole lot younger during that time. I don't think I ever. My bad, yes. I don't think any of my fights have really been my fights physically. I know they haven't, but I was always that person that was called, and probably shouldn't have did that. The blessed part about it, I didn't never get arrested or anything like that. So I definitely very thankful for that. But I kind of learned a bigger lesson later on in life about it, and it took a whole lot of growth. I would just say growing up to realize that, all right, maybe I shouldn't have been there doing any of that craziness. You can hold people down without physically, getting in physical altercations with other people to hold them down. If I knew what I knew now, it would have been like, hey, let's look at this another way. Maybe you don't need to go fight this woman or this guy. We can resolve the situation a different way.
That's fair. That's fair. That's real. Shout out to Sneak. Yeah, man. It's definitely giving us great content, man. Great perspectives. Like, we appreciate you over here, brother. Like I said, the link is always open, bro. You can always click it. And with that being said, man, it's been a great show. Let's put a bow on this thing. So, to everybody, just a quick reminder of what we've been with this. We're talking about what does it take to change your mind and the obligation of new information. We looked at some case studies that had some developing themes that were a little gray. And we were trying to mine through this entire time. When you're talking about your belief system and there's a new set of either obstacle information that is presented, how should you react? How do we react? How do we get better? So keeping all that in mind for those that are just joining us, let's put a bow on it. Let's go Kiki, Scam, Giovanna, and then CJ.
I think I can remember half of that.
Oh, you cool. You cool.
Guess I start easy. So, can my mind be easily changed? I would say no. Without if there's no evidence or nobody actually admitting to or some video or because I don't even consider text messages like valid evidence anymore. Like that stuff can be coerced as well. But anyway, if it ain't the smoking gun, like you can actually pinpoint and put your finger on it, my mind ain't gonna be easily changed. And then when it comes to celebrities, I kind of mind my broke business anyway, because pay my tax bracket. When it comes to healthcare, if it's not gonna benefit the state, they really don't care nothing about you. I mean, I see people getting back surgeries and within 24, 48 hours, they letting them go home. It ain't no monitoring, no nothing, no none of that. I mean, the healthcare system, you got some people in there that genuinely still care, but from my personal experience, majority of them do not care. So, like we discussed, you got to get stuff in place, written in place. You got to have those hard, tough conversations, and you got to have somebody to advocate for you at all times if you get in that predicament. Um, my belief system, I believe in doing people the way I would want to be treated. Growing up, you don't steal, you don't cheat, you don't lie, so all that good stuff, and I still stand on that. I'm still learning, open to learning, and all that good stuff.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Scam. Let's put a bow on this thing, man. Take us on home. What do you surmise from today's show?
There might just be a better way. There might just be one. Everybody wants to be better or should strive for be better. There's stuff that you know, and I get it. But there might just be a better way.
Bars.
Just listen. It doesn't make no kind of sense whatsoever. I get it. But I'll just leave it at that. There might just be a better way.
Bars.
That's all I got.
Bars. Cook up complete. Giovanna, what you got?
Hey, sorry, her phone don't go out. I got bad reception. I would say for change, I definitely agree with it to be able to be flexible or so. However, in that process, I'm gonna need at least some logic behind it, and I think that would make it a little bit easier to adapt. Stay adaptive and change and not just run away from it. Because all change ain't bad, truthfully speaking. Sometimes it's just people seeing things from a different perspective or so. As far as actually, adapting to change and changing your mindset or the way that you may think about a situation or topic. So that would be mine for that.
I like it. I like it. I like it. CJ, what you got, brother?
My solution for this, I don't know, man. Because
let's say conclusion. Let's use conclusion, not solution.
My conclusion of this would be one: if you ain't do it, snitch on them. I don't care. I don't care how good the cat was. I don't care what they look like. I looked it up. Meg The Stallion 5'11", Kelsey 5'10", Tory is 5'3". Like this nigga was really climbing trees, nigga. So I don't know, Kelsey. You should need no good. You was basically same weight class as Megan, so you should be able to fight that fight. You was only an inch off, but yeah, snitch on them. When it comes to old girl, I honestly think they need to pull the plug. That just it's extremely inhumane. I don't care what law system they're trying to claim it for in Georgia. I text Aunt Jane and called her, but she ain't replied back. She probably already out. But yeah, like I don't care what the system says. That's very inhumane, bro. It is. Diddy is in jail. Stay there. Die there. Cassie needs to join him. Whatever time frame he got, she needs to get 1 year less. All right, that's what I think.
Really?
I don't care. Yes. based off the RICO charges they doing. In reality, out of her words, not Diddy's, because he ain't even understand yet. Out of her words, she did more sex trafficking and drug trafficking than actually Diddy, and that's her words. So if he be in charge for this, but it's literally her admitting that she did it more for him, and her claim for it is, I loved him. I wanted to make sure that I was always a part of the freak offs, and then admits to it starting half the freak offs. Beloved, lock her up. I don't care. She need to go with him. No.
Okay. I like it. I think no information is important. I think how you process it like matters. Check.